welcome everybody to another episode of Unleash the Six. My name is Cam. Thanks for joining us. We have an interesting panel today, so I'm going to start to my right. And if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Helen Wolf.
Hi, Helen.
Hi, I'm 55. I actually live in Bradford, so I'm just a hitch outside of the GTA. I am in a relationship, newly, but definitely in a relationship, and I do a couple things. I act and model. I'm with Max Agency, and I also work for Deafblind Ontario, supporting people with dual sensory loss and special needs. Also, I've trained in cognitive behavioral therapy, so I'm an addiction mental health counselor.
That's great. Do
Thank
you want to
so
share
much.
your social media handles? Or
Oh, absolutely. I'm Helen Wolf, just like the big bad 007. I'm a bit of a Bond girl.
Great. Perfect. Moving on.
Hi, I'm Val. I'm 18 years
Hi,
old.
Val.
I live in Oakville, but I'm Colombian, so I'm an
Cool.
immigrant. I'm single. I am a part-time worker at a fast food restaurant at the moment, taking
Okay.
a gap year. I'm not studying or anything right now.
You want to share your social media handle? That's
Sure.
you? Yeah.
My Instagram is YEABCR, and on TikTok I'm Little Miss Can't Socialize.
Perfect.
Oh,
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
So cute.
Hi, I'm Lola. I'm over 50. I'm a nurse that likes to dabble in acting and dancing. And my Instagram handle is LolaGlam788, and I'm from the Burlington area.
Great.
Hello, my name is Cheyenne. I am from Brampton. I am 32. I am a lead educator, marketer, assistant manager, event coordinator for Oki Cannabis in Brampton.
So legalized drug dealer.
I am. I am. I went from legacy to legal. And my edibles tonight are brought to you by Ollie Sticks, D-Spot, and spinach, by the way. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I am married, but my husband currently lives in Newfoundland, and I just adopted 2 more kittens.
Kids?
Kittens.
Kittens.
Oh.
I say kids.
Yeah, so now,
Nice.
yeah, I
So how
found.
many cats do you have?
Well, we have 3 dogs. We've got 3 cats,
Oh my god.
2 guinea pigs.
Oh.
But you know what? Chris took 2 dogs, so I found 4 kittens, and then I found 2 good homes for. I found them by the creek.
Kittens?
Yeah, kittens.
Oh.
I literally 8:30 in the morning went out for a cigarette, found 4 kittens by the creek.
So sad.
Yeah.
Sad.
So I adopted 2. A coworker adopted 1.
Did you find anyone like?
We know the mother. We know the mother. What it is because somebody in the street lets her outdoor cat, who she claims isn't her outdoor cat, have kittens, and then she picks and chooses pretty ones. But we came together as a community. We stole them all from her.
That's very cat nice.
It really was. It was a kitty operation. It was like the middle of the nighttime. There was like 2 of us down one side of the street, 2 of us down the other. We're swooping up kittens.
Go, go, go.
It was crazy. Yeah. So
Moving along.
yeah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Stefania.
Hi, Stefania.
Hi. I'm 32, and I'm from Vaughan.
Okay.
And I've been working with children and youth that have special needs and behavior challenges for 12 years now. I have a
Wow.
background in psychology and social work.
Amazing.
And I also am an artist. I love to sing, and I'm going to be releasing my 2nd song very soon. Yeah,
Great.
so that's something
And
I'm really
you're-
excited
Are
about.
you single, married?
Oh, forgot about that.
Sometimes we all do.
Right. So I'm single.
Okay.
Mhm.
Do you want to share your social media handles or no?
Sure. So it's Steph with the letter F, Montez with the S at the end, and underscore.
Wonderful. Great. Well, welcome everybody. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was, if you can kind of put it up for us, just the article itself. So this article, what's it dated, Chris? I think it's very recent, right?
September 13th.
Yeah. So the Canadian Army, they purchased sleeping bags, right? And they spent more than $34.8 million. So we'll say $35 million on sleeping bags for our soldiers in the Army. And so they gave it to them to use when they were doing some projects in the north. And they're not fit for winter weather. How the F does the military spend 35, I'm not talking like, 30 grand or 20 grand, $35 million in buying sleeping bags without even testing them to make sure that they can work in those conditions of minus 20, minus 25, even minus 15. They didn't even test them. And then we talk about how, the cost of living and the standard of living in this country and how bad it's become, how people are having, I remember I read this article that said that approximately 55% of people who live in Canada are a paycheck away from missing their rent payment, their car, like defaulting on something.
That's
So we're surviving paycheck to paycheck. But meanwhile, you have the government just openly, frivolously spending taxpayers' dollars without any accountability. And of course, even with this, no one's going to get fired. No one's going to get reprimanded. Nothing's going to happen. And they're just going to buy new sleeping bags. So even the people who are involved in the military were saying, like, we could have just went to Canadian Tire and bought bags for even cheaper, and they are fit for Canadian weather.
Mhm.
How can you buy sleeping bags in a country like Canada that are not fit for cold? What's the purpose of the bag? It's to keep you warm. Like, you're not fucking hugging it. It's not keeping you company. It's there to keep the soldiers warm. That is it. Nothing else. It's not about it's not bulletproof. It's not this proof. It's just to keep you warm when you go to
I
sleep.
was literally gonna make the joke, like, for $35 million, this shit better be fucking bulletproof. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
It's ridiculous. Like, what kind of, are they made of, like, Kevlar? What kind of sleeping bags are these?
well, clearly whoever's in purchasing has never seen a winter or has never been out in that, and it's one of those box checkers. Oh, they need sleeping bags. Okay, because they've got.
But I
deep
mean, but
pockets,
don't
man.
you think, Helen, if you're spending, I can understand if the person was spending, $10,000, right? Let's say if it's a government body and they're buying a certain thing, it's 10 grand, okay. When you're committing to give $35 million to a manufacturer who's making sleeping bags, don't you have to do your due diligence? Isn't there, like, test the bag? Do the zippers work?
Well-
Is it fire retardant? Is it warm enough? Like, wouldn't you have to go through a checklist?
One would think, but we're back to it's government pushing paper, and it's one person saying, "Oh, sure, that looks good," because they're not paying for it out of their own pockets. No one sees it.
I'm kind of wondering if that's how much they actually were, and the person that actually made some or manufactures them, and whoever is in who's purchasing has made a deal. And it's like, you know what? These are only worth like $5, but we're gonna say that they're worth like 500,
Yeah.
and then you know what? You'll take 50%. I'll take 50%. No one knows the wiser. And now that winter's rolled around, they realize, shit, they're $5 sleeping bags. They're not $100 sleeping bags. You know what I mean? Like, they're probably jacking the invoice price.
Yeah,
This
I
is
was
where,
thinking about that too. Like,
Yeah.
who knows if they actually spend the 35 million
on the bags.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
this is what happens. Automatically, like, in your brain, you're gonna think there's corruption here, because there's no logic. 35 million. That's like the population of the country. First of all, remember
Wow.
that we're about 35 million in the country. Okay, you can buy sleeping bags from, like, AliExpress online that are, like, that will be, like, good for minus 20 weather.
Yeah.
It might be like $20, 30. And you can buy that at Canadian Tire, a sleeping bag for $30-40. That's good for Canadian winters.
Coleman needs to step up right now and make an army style, an army suited sleeping bag, and they need to go forward and donate them all to the soldiers and say, screw your budget. Here you go. You don't need $35 million for this. You only need this, and you have to pay us this for. You know what I mean?
Or even do a marketing campaign
Yeah, like, you get what I'm saying?
just to make fun of the army. And this is just one thing. We were talking earlier that every single time any one of the ministries in this country gets audited, they get caught. None of them. So the Auditor General, their responsibility is to audit the different ministries, whether they're provincial or federal, right? And then they give a report after. None of them have passed. I've never read one report that said, "Oh, the Ministry of Agriculture gets an A+." Every single one of them fail. Every single one, because they don't care. It's not their money.
Has there ever been a recorded passing grade?
No,
Do you know of?
not
No,
every
there's-
single one. Since I've been reading articles on the Auditor General, every single time, like the Auditor General, they ended up doing a report on how the Ford government handled, the pandemic, and how much money they spent, and how they looked after the people in the retirement homes, and they failed.
Miserably.
Every area they couldn't even create a mandate on when these what do you call these workers that work in the retirement homes?
As direct support workers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the acronym for that?
PSW.
PSWs. So there was supposed to be a protocol that's supposed to be set up. So if you worked at a retirement home, when you came in, you had to wash your hands, you had to put on gloves, you had to put a mask on. They had to make sure that there was they had to make sure that there was protective measures in all different places, right? They weren't even able to create a proper protocol where they came in to supervise them to make sure that that was being followed.
Hundo P, my grandmother's in a nursing home. I can vouch for this. This was their setup. I'm talking like the mid-peak of COVID, their setup was a barn gate door that went this way, a sign-in sheet. You had to test yourself. There was no one at the front, and there was no one watching the front half the time. So there was people, and I know my uncle was doing it because he never wanted to do COVID tickets, so he would walk right in. And these are vulnerable. They're the most vulnerable of society to get it right now. And there was no proper procedure. But every week I'd go back, there would be like a different change. There'd be like, okay, but now you have to wear a mask on your way in. Okay, now you just have to put a mask on at the front door. It was like there was no proper procedure. No. And now the same thing. They're in lockdown again right now for COVID.
Oh, they were because they.
My grandmother's nursing home. There's 3 people in her nursing home, and now they're in lockdown. So she gets all her meals like Jill giving to them, and that's what she's paying big bucks for.
My mother was in assisted living just past in February, and I had her there. Same deal with COVID. Unless you were a care worker, which you had to take special tests for, that was the only way you could go see her. And they did. I give them credit because it was after the audit. So they did the mandatory testing. You could not go up, full mask, blah, blah, blah. But the whole thing it just became hilarious because, you've got 6 different floors. So this floor can move around, but this floor can't.
And then people would be like, you know what? Then they would just give up on the whole procedure because there was no accountability. There was no consistency. And they were like, okay, well, if this people are doing it, why are we doing it this way? And then they'd stop doing it the proper way. And people started making up their own worlds. It was a lot less.
And also the workers that they were hiring, the Ontario government, to give an incentive to people to they wanted nurses, qualified nurses. They gave them a $2 per hour raise.
Yeah.
So they went from minimum wage. I forgot what it was. It was like $14, and they said we'll pay you $16 an hour. So these people who are working there, they're getting sworn at. Yeah. They're getting assaulted. They're getting piss and shit thrown at them. Okay, they're being accused of all kinds of stuff. People are stealing from them. I'm talking about the old people in the retirement home doing this to the workers. So the incentive the government gave is by giving them a $2 raise per hour. The fuck is that?
Insane.
It's criminal.
How are you gonna get qualified nurse? No qualified nurse took the job.
You know what's funny is it'll probably raise them enough to put them in a higher tax bracket, so the government's still gonna reap the rewards.
It's not only that. The bigger problem was that they were taking workers from different homes. Like they didn't have their main staff. PSWs would come in from different locations. So now you've got one transfer to another transfer. So all your protocols are great, but Sally was just in with so and so, and now she's in.
Oh, now she's someone else. I totally agree.
My mother had COVID when she died, but she went into hospital COVID free. She contracted it whilst in hospital.
And you think that'd be the safest place to be? So this whole thing here, it's a pattern, and that's why a lot of people have lost faith in the government, because they truly feel that they're not in touch with reality. They may talk about things like, the cost of living has gone up or food prices have gone up, but it is what it is. No, it's not. They don't feel the pinch. If you're a Doug Ford, if you're a Justin Trudeau, you think that Justin Trudeau carries money in his pocket? You think Justin Trudeau goes to the grocery store to buy stuff or pumps gas for himself? Or even Doug Ford? These guys are they're out of touch completely with their constituents. With what everybody goes through with the cost of living in Canada, they have no idea what it is. They don't feel the pinch. Well, and that's why they have this kind of shit taking place. And it's just these numbers are thrown around just so 34.8 million was spent on sleeping bags.
Oh, well.
Oh, they didn't work. Oopsies.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, what comes to mind when thinking about that situation, $35 million on sleeping bags, I think money laundering.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even think that was spent on.
Well, of course, that's what I
Sleeping
just said.
bags.
Yeah, you think that somehow there was some inside deal going on,
Mhm.
right? So you own the company that I'm going to buy the sleeping bags from, and I'm going to pay you, wink, wink, 35 million, but you're going to give me a kickback of 5 million.
Right.
And that's how you got the tender. But the next thing that I'm concerned about, I care about our Canadian soldiers, right? But when is the last time that anyone attacked Canada?
I was going to mention that. I was going to say, I get
It's
it.
not that we get attacked, but how many times does Canada go and help other countries?
They do, but at the same time, what I'm saying is these are being used in Canada, right? So when they go out to these drills and whatever else that they do, okay, which I understand. First of all, they should be equipped with the right equipment. I mean, that's the bare basic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if they gave them like socks, right? And they all had holes in them.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what are you doing? It's just it's a sleeping bag. We're not asking to give them like this. It's a tank. It's the most primitive, basic thing that a soldier needs. It's a sleeping bag. How can you botch that?
It's unconscionable, but
Yeah.
it's the reality. Like we mentioned earlier, the fact that with with putting in your tenors and we're putting in these bids, it does become who you know. I'm sure of it.
100%.
And beyond that, it's the budget, like as they have your X amount, you're allotted this much for this, and so they will make the number whatever they want it to be
Yep.
to match that, so
Yeah.
they continue to get the plethora of funds for whatever.
We talked about this before. Does anyone here, like, you girls drive?
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're on the highway, I'm sure you've noticed this. If let's say there's a car accident, right? You'll see 2 fire trucks parked perpendicular to the highway, blocking 2 lanes.
Mhm.
You'll see 2 ambulances there and like a bunch of cop cars and so on. Okay, it could be for a fender bender, like the tiniest little accident possible. So you wonder why. First of all, the fire trucks weren't called; they weren't even told to come. The ambulances weren't called or told to come. Okay, on their CB system, when the police are calling stuff in their dispatch, the ambulance as well as fire, they hear it. So why do they send these fire trucks out?
Yeah.
From personal experience, many years ago, I had a tragic car accident. Driving home from work, a man literally committed suicide by standing in the middle of the road. He was standing in the middle of the road in
On
the
the
danger
highway?
zone. No, well, on Yonge Street, but
Okay.
it was 80 kilometers. And I didn't see him. Obviously, it was dark. So the car in front sort of swerved around. He took one step over, directly into my car. Well, with all that, as I'm at the side of the road now, obviously I was brain injured and there was many injuries, but there was no less than 14 police cars, no less than 4 to 5 fire trucks, air ambulance. The gentleman was clearly not coming anywhere or going anywhere. My car was written off, I was written off, but just the amount of resources in that moment and for 6 hours. It would be different if there was another vehicle involved. It'd be different if there was, there's so many layers to how it would be different. But the fact that this was clean cut, and ironically, I was the one that said, I don't want to go to hospital, fix him. I want to do my statement. If you need to take blood, if you need to do whatever you need to do. And it was them that said, no, we don't need to. But I was adamant. Long story short, just I've seen it in my own.
So do you know why this happens?
No.
The reason it happens is, let's say, for example, if it's the Oakville Fire Department, okay, and they get a call that, oh, there's an accident on whatever, Trafalgar Road, and it's only a fender bender. The Oakville Fire Department has a budget. So let's say if their annual budget is $1 million. If they don't use that full budget, let's say they only use 700,000, the following year they're only going to get 700,000. So they always exceed the million. So the following year they can ask for more. So they will go on calls where they're not even needed. So they're basically just burning resources.
But like collectively, like every corporate company is like that as well. So if we
What do you mean by what do you mean by
like
corporate?
corporate company, any corporate company I've worked for, like say like my old company, I worked for office furniture delivery, right? So we had a budget when it came to office supplies ourselves, chairs, computer screens, whatever. If we didn't use that budget,
But that's a private company.
but it's the same format, is what I'm saying.
No, I know what I'm saying, but that money that you guys are using is the company's money.
But if
This
we
is
didn't,
taxpayers' dollars.
yeah, I get that, but it's
Right?
the same concept. But if we collectively know this is going on, why don't we need to stop that process? We need
But
to.
people don't know it. That's the whole point. The media doesn't. This information I'm giving you right now is not front page news.
No, because they make it that way on purpose because the medias are owned by the bigger corporations.
And the media also gets, so CBC, for example, is fully funded by the government. Do you know how much money they get per year? Take a guess, on average.
Not as much as I would think.
Take a guess.
60 million?
10 million.
Another guess? Sophia?
100 million?
Val?
35 million.
10 million.
Clearly, we're way off.
Over $3 billion a year.
What?
Wow.
CBC gets that from the government. The entire CBC is funded by the government. And-
Oh, that's a big.
$3 billion. So I forgot the stupid woman who runs it. She's the president. Can you look her up for me, Chris? She has like pink hair. Fucking nut job.
What? Yeah.
So they interviewed her, and last year she gave out over like $15 million worth of bonuses. So in the interview, they asked her, like, first of all, since COVID, the advertising, the amount of advertising on CBC has declined by something like, this crazy.
Oh my
dumb
goodness, she's a
ass woman.
ginger. God help us. I'm a ginger, so I know what
She's
we're
not a
like.
real ginger.
Okay.
So she had given, you can look this up, Chris, about CBC giving bonuses. So they asked her, they said, your viewership has gone down by 40%. Your advertising has gone down something crazy by 80% since COVID. Okay? You have had so many mistakes when it comes to the news that you guys put out. So when whether it's going to be on the CBC channel or whether it's online, there's so many mistakes that they've been caught in making in the news. So the person who interviewed her said, why would you be giving out so many bonuses? And she goes, well, because of the fact that our team catches the mistakes so quickly. That's what I give them a bonus for.
That's like saying I spilled the milk, but I bought a new one, so we're good.
It's basically saying that people are getting bonuses because mistakes are being made and you're correcting them. So it's like medical malpractice. So because you botched an operation, but then you quickly try to fix it, we're going to give you shouldn't have botched the operation.
There should be no mistakes.
You're a news organization. There should be no mistakes.
She's just grasping at things.
Yeah, and people are buying it. So Pierre Poilievre said that he's gonna cut media funding. It's a good intention. I know he's not gonna fully do it. Why? Once he comes into power, he's not gonna sink CBC because CBC will start writing pro articles supporting Pierre Poilievre. So right now, Trudeau government supports CBC because you're rarely gonna see CBC bashing Trudeau. You can't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, right? So when we're talking about what you said, Cheyenne, why aren't people doing something about it? Is because the news media that exists today, it's no longer news. It's opinions and it's bias. It's based on who's paying. So if you have, let's say, a car company like Ford, or if you have someone like Chrysler, and they had like a big, huge recall, which was causing accidents and killing people, and you have a station like CBC, and Ford happens to be the top advertiser, guess what? They'll pick up the story, but it's only going to be this small
Mm-hmm.
of airtime. Because they know if they play it longer, Ford is going to pull the plug and stop spending millions on their TV station advertising every week.
It's jeopardizing themselves.
Yeah, so they're not. So it's no longer news. It's no longer news. It's scripted, and even this article here about the $35 million on sleeping bags, we're not gonna hear about it again.
I want to know what else this guy or group bought
Oh yeah,
other than these sleeping
yeah.
bags.
That's what you start thinking about. Where else are they wasting money? This is just the tip of the iceberg,
Yeah.
and this is with every ministry. By the way, we were talking earlier about how I think it was in Halton or if it was the Toronto School Board. This is several years back. They had the Auditor General look in on the school board and see, in school where you have the teacher's desk and they have like a pencil sharpener that's bolted right on, the hand one.
Oh, the old
Right.
school one.
You're
Yeah.
aging me.
So they still have those, right? In the elementary schools. So what do you think it costs? Because obviously we pay for that. It's public schools. What do you think it would cost to get one of those put on a teacher's desk? What were we paying for that?
It shouldn't cost very much.
How much do you think?
It might cost like $10-15 for one of those.
$300
For one
for
sharpener.
one sharpener for someone to install it, and that's what we were paying.
Oh, I thought you meant like the sharpener
Okay,
itself.
so let's say installing it. Even if you install it, it's not going to be $300,
Maybe 100.
and that's even crazy. It's 2 bolts, fine, even 100. This is 3 times the amount. So the Auditor General, they found out that even like the chalkboards and a whole bunch of other stuff, everything that was in the school we were paying like somewhere from 300% to 1,000% more than what it should cost. And that's again because no one's policing it.
Not only that, though, they can't afford to do arts and crafts. They're losing different programs because of budget cuts.
Yeah.
Teachers are actually having to supply their own
They're
stuff.
bringing their own stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Like highlighters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The school doesn't provide that.
I was gonna talk about that, how like it costs so much, but for example in my high school, there wasn't one of those sharpeners in most of the classrooms. Like even then, I remember my math class, it was the only class where I used a pencil, there was no sharpener.
Yeah.
But then there was one in the computer lab.
See, so they try to make it seem like we have to cut budget here and there. We can't afford this. Well, it's because look how much money you're spending.
Well, like I remember in high school, one year, our high school went and they, with one, I guess it was our budget, they went and they changed all our chalkboards, right? Because they were old. But the following year, it was when the whole whiteboard thing came out, but it was like, allergies are bad, dust is bad, so allergies and whatever. So then the next year's budget went to just taking all the brand new fucking, and I'm talking, you know what they did? They just threw them in the dumpster.
Yeah, of course they do. They don't care.
You know how many other schools in the surrounding area, less fortunate schools, probably would have taken them?
Or countries.
They were just
Yeah, or donate them.
Thank you.
Like civic centers or whatever else. So the whole thing here is that if like you're saying, why don't people complain? So people did complain, for example, when the police force in Toronto, they wanted a raise in their budget, right? And the mayor gave it. And people are like, it's overspending. We need to undercut police spending, and we need to get more people like social workers and so on involved. So when you get these 911 calls of somebody who's having like a mental breakdown, you not just send the cop to that.
Yeah.
That's just adding fire to the fire. Like that person's the cop's gonna arrive there and is gonna, what pushes authority, and that person with the mental problem is gonna push back and not comply, and the next thing the other person gets shot.
Or even if it is a police officer, have them
Trained.
in ununiformed clothing to de-escalate the situation, but still protecting themselves, maybe with an Under Armour vest, but still dressed in regular clothing, but are trained in social.
But they need to be trained, right?
Yes.
So if you're gonna give, that's why I say, you know what, cut the budget a bit, and then have this division where there's specialized social workers who are also trained as police officers to handle these calls.
Now they do have, at least I can speak for York Region, they do have, it's kind of like a YRAP program. So essentially what happens is, if there's news or situations that are high stress, obviously legal and whatnot, they'll come on site and they sort of assist with the de-escalation. They'll sort of help address, they deal with the victims in these different circumstances.
So if the police is called, does the police show up as well with
The
them?
police do show up.
But they're in the front.
They're in the front.
Okay, that's
They're
good.
just there.
That's what they should be doing everywhere.
I couldn't agree more,
Yeah.
because you show up, especially I work with people with different mental health issues and especially behaviors. If you don't learn crisis prevention intervention, you're going to get hurt, and so will other people. It's such an important thing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And so this is where the whole thing, the question comes up. All of these different services that are available for us, they're all crying about we don't have enough money. We're underfunded. There's not enough beds in hospitals. The schools are running down. Our infrastructure, bridges, roads are all falling apart. Yeah, we have enough money. It's bad money management.
Oh,
You guys are horrible at handling money. That's the problem.
Those workers were volunteers. Sorry, that was a very necessary.
Yeah, because I was surprised by hearing that, because from what I've read, they keep talking about we don't have enough funds for that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, you do.
they're volunteers.
Like you've got a cop at every construction site possible. So if they're paving a small part of a road, there's a cop car standing there in Toronto with a car running, and that cop's gonna make him about $100 an hour.
Best part is, cop's not even in the car.
Yeah.
Usually he has another cop pick him up, and that happens all the time.
And the car sits with the light sirens on or running with the lights on. Feel there's a cop car there. Why do you need a cop car at a construction site?
And if I'm not mistaken, they get paid more.
Yeah, time and a half.
Yeah.
They make about $100 an hour.
I mean,
So stupid, man. Anyway, let's move along here. If you want to do the thing about pop psychology, Chris, so you ladies will be able to relate to this.
Some ways, pop psychology lies to you. Everyone you dislike is not a narcissist. Every unpleasant experience is not trauma. Having needs does not make you codependent. Disagreement is not gaslighting. Conflict is not abuse. Taking offense is not being triggered. Everything does not need to be normalized. Speaking like an HR memo is not self-awareness. One of my favorite posts from you are these sort of the nine horsemen of psychology.
These are definitely some of them. So dialogue around narcissism. It's creating this strange, fan fiction version of narcissism that only lives on the internet. Anybody you don't like is a narcissist. Any form of abuse or poor treatment is narcissism. Words mean things, especially when it's clinical language. And we've taken this therapy speak, which is a part of therapy culture, and you use it to inflate every little thing. You're not just offended or you don't like something or you're uncomfortable, you've been triggered. You haven't been triggered. You don't like this or it's caused cognitive dissonance.
Ways.
So, first of all, I'd like to get everyone's thought on this. So we're going to start on this side here. Do you agree with this?
Excuse me. I would say that we have to be careful with giving labels, because if we try to put a label on everything, it's almost like we're trying to define everything. And I do agree with him somewhat in the sense that, everybody's unique, everybody's different, and everybody comes from a different upbringing, different background, and of course there's a lot of common denominators. But if we try to label everything and put like a definition instead of, and kind of sometimes even using that as an excuse, like, oh, this person is a narcissist, that's why they're acting like this, but maybe it's just part of their character, their personality, and it doesn't need a label to be placed on it. It's just part of who they are.
I find that a lot of people seem to think that they're psychologists and they know exactly what a narcissist is. And meanwhile, it's not that easy to, first of all, even diagnose somebody
Right.
who would have NPD or even BPD, like borderline personality disorder, or even bipolar. But people, just because, a female is in a relationship with a guy and the guy tends to be a little bit controlling, he's a narcissist. No, he's not. Like he might not want you to dress a certain way or stop posting thirst photos of yourself on your Instagram because you're now with him. So why are you still advertising and promoting yourself? Automatically, he's considered to be a narcissist. Meanwhile, they don't even know what that even means, right? When it comes to being a narcissist, there's certain, I believe it's, I don't know how to, the DSM, you got to be.
DSM-5.
Yeah, you have to be, I think, 7, I think, is out of 9 or 5 out of 9.
Yeah, minimum.
So it's not just because you're dating somebody or your coworker is a bit difficult.
Yeah.
You can't just go and say, oh, he's a narcissist. I find that's ridiculous, right? Cheyenne, what are your thoughts on that?
First and foremost, as somebody that took a few years to get labeled as bipolar and a few years to get labeled as ADHD, it really does annoy me when people go around and they're like, oh, like that person's so ADHD, or they're like, oh my God, I'm bipolar. They aren't bipolar. Like, bipolar is a struggle. Bipolar is something that you don't take lightly. Like, at the end of the day, it's one of the worst things, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Like, some days I'll go like 4 or 5 days, I can stare at a wall and time, like literally, like in a cartoon, just passes. And it's very hard to manage that during a daily life, and for somebody to take that and just be like, oh, I'm bipolar. I want to see your, how many times I've actually said to people, okay, show me your diagnosis. I know we're not supposed to ask people your handicap, but show me your diagnosis. I'll show you all my paperwork. I'll show you the hospital visits from, impulse, stupidity, impulse decisions from the ADHD. I'll show you records of that. Show me yours. Because you woke up having a bad day. Like, that's where I find offensive, and I think that's where what the pop media or the pop psychology is talking about. It's becomes, even with the new autism thing, like, that I feel like it's good because I think it gives a lot of people recognition, and it makes them feel like, okay, maybe that there is a reason I am the way that I am, and it gives them a reason to go to the doctors and get a diagnosis started. But to say, I'm autistic, you're not. You're in the point.
Yes, see, I think what he's trying to point out more is not necessarily people saying that about themselves, it's people saying that about others. So if you
That's even worse.
Yeah, so if you meet someone and let's say, you went on a date with them and then it didn't go well and you're like, oh, I've got trauma because of it. Like, what? Like, it was a bad date. Wake the fuck up. Yeah. You're not gonna get, that's not trauma.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's
like, now you have PTSD, like some guy who did like 5 tours in Iraq and saw kids being blown up. You're at the same level now. You need the same level of care because you had a bad date. Or they're like, oh, whatever, my ex was so toxic.
Isn't that narcissistic of you to say though, Pam?
No, but even then,
I'm just saying, like that's how I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's
yeah. So it has to do with the fact that these words are used so loosely.
Yeah.
Like you cannot just label someone as being toxic just because you guys don't agree on something. That's not
Right.
being toxic.
Yeah, I think it's important to consider we're all human.
Yeah.
So everybody goes through anxiety. That's like an experience that everybody has at some point, and there's different degrees of anxiety. So I could have anxiety because of something that just happened. Doesn't mean that I have anxiety disorder. It just had anxiety for that moment. It's something that comes and goes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yourself?
Yeah.
What do you think about this? Do you believe that this is what's happening, or people are just
they're-
loosely, labeling people?
Labeling, they don't have the credentials, they're not psychiatrists, psychologists, and they're blaming other people for everything in their life. They're not doing the work.
Yeah.
They're not looking at themselves.
Yeah. They're projecting onto somebody else and
It's-
saying, "Oh, it's all them."
It's easy. It's easier
Yeah.
just to.
Val?
Yeah.
Do you see this a lot with your friends or people?
Kinda. I mean, because I look at it from both ways. One, I do like that it's now like more normalized to talk about these things because again, let's say I have a friend with ADHD and they say they don't want to say it because they're gonna think I'm dumb. Well, I like that now we know that no, ADHD is not being dumb. It's something completely different. So I do like that. I just don't like when we go to the extreme of everything is a psychology like disorder.
Yeah.
So like I'm sad, I'm so depressed.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
With my generation, I see that a lot with ADHD and anxiety. It's like, it's just that you cannot do that to me because I have anxiety. No, you don't.
It's like, suck it up, Buttercup. What's the big fucking
Yeah.
deal? It's a
But
part
then-
of life.
Yeah, but then at the same time, like with the toxic thing, I was thinking, I do like that we now call things a name because what happened a lot in the past is that my ex-boyfriend just beat me up. He was just angry. No. That is being toxic.
Well, no, that's abuse, right?
Like, exactly.
listen,
like,
that
he was toxic.
100%. But I'm saying if you are in a relationship and you're with the person for a certain amount of time, and then you, after, let's say, you're not with the individual anymore, and you now grow and saying, he was a narcissist,
Oh yeah, no.
and I have trauma because of it, and I have this and that. Okay, well, is he diagnosed? No. Well, what makes you think that?
Yeah,
Because he was controlling. He wouldn't want me to go out with my girlfriends wearing a short dress. That's not a narcissist. That's his preference. He didn't like it, leave him. That doesn't make him a narcissist.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't say that now because of that, I have trauma when it comes to dating. What are you talking about? Like now you've got trauma and then you want pity from people? I feel that this new generation, that's what it is, that everyone has got some sort of an ailment. They have an excuse for their behavior, they have an excuse for their failures. Instead of saying it, okay, like you were saying, it's me. I've got to take responsibility.
Yeah.
This also, I have to also realize there are two people in the relationship, not just that one person. And what role did I play? And also, right now in my life where I'm at, I'm constantly just making this excuse that because I'm depressed or I have too much anxiety, and that's why don't expect anything of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all have free will and we make a lot of choices. And we got to take responsibility for our choices.
And I feel that it takes away from the people who are actually really suffering from this.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say. Like I do like that it's normalized, but then we take it to this extreme where I like these people that are like, it's just that my mom doesn't get it. I have ADHD and like that's why I need pills and she doesn't get it. And it's like, maybe you don't have.
Yeah.
Maybe. How have you thought about that? Like maybe you're
Maybe just listen to your mom.
Literally.
Instead of talking back to her all the time and rolling your eyes, maybe if you change your attitude, you guys would get along better and she wouldn't be on your case. Maybe if the first time she told you, yeah, she did it, then you'd realize we have to tell you 10 times, right? So I feel that when this happens, you've got individuals who actually have these struggles. And their struggles are not that big of a deal because everyone's claiming that they've got it.
Well, and let me just touch on that. As someone who diagnosed on paper has PTSD, has ADHD, has an acquired brain injury, all of these things as a result of life. And, but I also had a past and had different things growing up, but I don't understand why everybody needs a label now. Why can't, I love the fact that people are being recognized and groups are being identified, but for everybody to be a Google psychiatrist and be as quick to just throw these labels, yet we're not allowed to use labels, but let's just call whatever accountability we don't want to have to
Mhm.
say, well, I did it because of this. It wasn't because I slept in or I screwed up or I didn't prepare. It was,
It's because, whatever, this is what I've been gifted with, unfortunately, and this is the best you're going to get out of me.
well, and everybody got a trophy. I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but I grew up in a generation where, if you wanted something, you fought for it. And to be celebrated was because you earned it.
Yeah.
And not just for showing up. Like,
What is this
supposed
whole
to.
bullshit with getting an award for just participating?
Thank
Oh
you.
my goodness, that was like the generations after me, and I never understood this. And I see what
No,
you're
it
saying.
exists today.
Yeah, I know. They never did it with my generation. We didn't have it with my generation, but it happened with generations after me. And I'm telling you, you could tell the difference, even when it comes to like a work environment. The kids that got participation trophies, when I have to call them in the office, or like the look on their face, I'll just be like, it could be a good thing. I'll be like, hey, can I see you in the office? What did I do? Their face straight. What did I do wrong? Like, don't worry, this is the real life. You're gonna get called into a lot of offices. Like, this is gonna be the first of many. Could be for a variety of reasons. Is there a reason why you look like that though? But you can tell they're soft. It makes them
They're
soft.
coddled.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, if you're playing like, soccer
Football.
and you've got kids or football in Europe, and the kids are like 6, 7, 8 years old and they don't keep score. They do that now, right?
Yeah, but that's how it
Do you
should
know
be.
that?
But
They
you know
don't
what?
keep score.
Oh, they do that here in golf with kids.
Well, for
No,
fun.
they do that so basically, why are you playing?
Oh, sorry. Okay, see, when I say don't keep score, if you're playing a kickabout and you're learning skills from each other, that's one thing. But
No,
when
I'm
it
talking
comes to
about
actual game,
No, they're playing a game, so the kids are 7, 8 years old, and they're in uniform, and they'll be like, the Brampton team playing against us. They don't, now they have some league, they don't keep score.
That's
But then how
that's
do you know who wins?
Do you know that?
I did not know
but
that.
how do you get the learning lessons of loss of how
No,
to win?
no,
with grace
everybody
and
wins.
with grace.
You know what
You
that
learn
reminds
nothing.
me
That teaches
of
something.
like the lame, like the fake gentle parenting thing, where it's like, oh, sure, we don't have to like punch the kids, but we do need them to learn that they're wrong sometimes, because there are these parents that are like, oh, he's just crying on the street, throwing everything. I'm not gonna do it. It's his feelings. He needs to let it out.
Sorry.
No,
I'll give you something to cry about.
you're just teaching him to not be emotionally intelligent.
Well, you're also kind of teaching him that he can have a tantrum and he
And
can
nothing
misbehave
happens.
whenever he wants to, and everybody else has to now cater to his feelings,
He
right?
has to deal with it.
So I recently dealt with this at my office where we had an individual that I'm not going to mention their name, just had a complete and utter meltdown and started yelling and swearing and screaming at the coworkers for no apparent reason. And then, said, oh, I'm leaving. And then contacted me and said, I'm not feeling well. I'll be in tomorrow. I said, no, you're not going to be in tomorrow. You're fired.
Good for you.
Like, how dare you yell and swear and throw stuff and call people derogatory names and whatever. You're done. And then they contacted me again after and said, oh, I just want to know that if you want me to come back, I'm ready to come back, and I'm an asset to your company.
Oh,
like, what?
wow.
So I find that today what's happening is that people are no longer accountable for their behavior, and they put it off to, oh, I've got this problem, or I have that problem, or because of my parents I've got this problem, so you can't hold me accountable. And then those people, like you were just saying, Cheyenne, those people, when they're approached by someone who is a senior to them, they have to walk on eggshells, like when they come to them and talk to them, because their feelings, you really have to be careful, and they'll overreact. Why are you talking to me? But it's like give me a break. And all of this, they're bred that way, and it's because of this sort of attitude where, like you were saying, that if someone is having a tough day, they automatically say, "Oh, I'm depressed." You're having a bad day. That doesn't mean you have a depression issue. You don't need to go take some pills now to regulate your emotions. You're just having a bad day.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. The next day will be better.
Yeah.
Not every day is going to be amazing. Not every girl or guy you date is going to be amazing.
And you don't need to take medication for every time your nail hurts or your feelings got hurt, or we are such an over medicated society that at some point we have to stop and say, okay, can we just not?
That's never going to happen.
Oh, I know, because Big Pharma makes the money, but
So you said you work with youth, right?
Yes, children and youth that have special needs.
So when you say special needs, are you talking about like they're physically, or are you talking about also mental?
Both.
Both. So
Both.
if children have got bipolar, or if they have
Yes.
um,
They could have
autistic,
yes, they could be autistic.
Down
they could
syndrome.
have oppositional defiance disorder.
how about like Down syndrome?
They could have Down syndrome.
Okay.
So it's a very broad spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
I work with lower functioning children and youth, higher functioning children.
What are the
nonverbal.
age ranges?
From kindergarten to grade 12.
Wow. And
Yeah.
which group do you find to be the ones that are the easiest to communicate with, that you can work well with?
Well, it definitely is easier when the child can communicate or they have some form of a communication system, because then it's easier to tend to their needs.
So
it's
older,
easier to
a little bit older they are.
understand them. Well, the thing is, sometimes I work with older kids that they're nonverbal, so they're not able to speak,
Mm.
and so they might have like a communication device. Usually, it's like an iPad, or they call it like Apex, and it has pictures, and they can press the pictures or point to the pictures.
To tell you how they're feeling or things like
They
that.
can tell you how they're feeling. They can tell you when they need to go to the washroom.
Do you use sign exact English?
So I'm not trained in sign language. If there are children that use sign language, then they would assign a worker. That
No, I
is
don't think
trained.
you're saying sign language.
I am.
Oh, sign language. Okay.
Because I work with
Yeah.
people with special needs, and I started in with
Yeah.
youth, and I know that usually signing is the foundation for that, especially for the nonverbal, because mine specifically have a dual sensory loss, but
Yes.
it's a fantastic thing you do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So I
definitely
guess
rewarding.
one of the things that you probably really focus on is teaching them coping mechanisms. Do you focus on that?
Yes,
Is that one of the
that's-
things that
That's one of the things, coping mechanisms, how to regulate their behavior.
Their
Sometimes
emotions.
they have a hard time regulating their behavior. They might have triggers. So
identifying the triggers?
identifying what the triggers are. It could be something so simple as they're having their break time, and so they get like a certain time for their break. Let's say it's 5 minutes to be on the computer, and if you interrupt that time, they might
Mhm.
freak out.
So do you teach like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy?
So I'm trained in applied behavioral analysis, which is maybe has some similarities. It's not
Mhm.
exactly that, but it's more for kids that have special needs, so they fall under the autism umbrella.
Spectrum. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a cognitive behavioral therapist. That's what
Yeah, so I know that with a lot of people that do have these type of, whether it's, even narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality, bipolar and all that, that one of the key things is really retraining your mind on the right coping mechanism, right? So teaching them that everything is not catastrophic. It's not the end of the world.
And it also teaches, sorry to interject, but it also teaches how to analyze the problem itself. So take I can't do the laundry, or well, I can't go to a party because so and so's going to be there. It's going to be off. I'm going to hate it. Da da da. Well, that's not really what you're feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and the anxiety, whatever. So it's dissecting it all and
Well, to
kind of
get to the
step by
root.
step to get to the root. To
Yeah.
then say, okay, well, were we fortune telling? Were we going back to past? That'll do nothing. It very
Were
much
you
teaches-
ruminating or?
Exactly. It teaches you mindfulness, puts you in the present to say, okay, let's address this in the here and now instead of foreshadows and historical things.
Do you deal with people with borderline personality disorder?
And okay, so in one of the houses I'm at, I work a lot with CP, and I work with very severely disabled. In another house, there's so many that would fall under the DSM-5 that you can't really necessarily separate them.
Mm-hmm.
But volatile behaviors, and back to what you said, triggers. If, for example, one of them is very food driven, motivated by food. So every time you want a task done, because our point is to enrich lives, our
Right.
point is to give them a window to the world and give them the opportunity to be out whilst
Right.
managing behaviors. So
Right.
if we don't stick to a routine, I am telling you, it will become dangerous, and that's where you literally have to protect yourself and fight people off and use restraints, holds,
Wow.
different things.
See, again, so when I hear about this, I have empathy for those people, right?
Yes.
But when I hear someone online saying, oh, I'm depressed and my ex-boyfriend was mean to me and now in the depression, I need antidepressants. No, you don't. You just went through a bad relationship, suck it up, learn from it, move on. You don't need medication. It's a fucking part of life.
I wish
Like-
people would work at our industry, or at least have to volunteer.
To see the reality of it.
Reality.
Yeah.
And be grateful, have gratitude for what you have, not what you don't have. Because you know,
Stop whining and complaining.
well,
Holy
250 million people didn't wake up the other day. Every day, or
Yeah.
250,000, they don't wake up. Well, I woke up, so I'm one step ahead of the game.
It's also as well, you don't really, like a lot of people, you don't really have a problem. The problem is your perspective on how you see things. That's all it is.
But a long time ago, I don't know, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, people would go out and do their chores, or they were physical. They had something was bothering them. They're depressed. The war, World War II, people would go and do milk the cow.
They still were doing daily functions.
They were doing,
Right.
and they said it helped them a lot being physical and doing things, and they had to do more things than we do. We're not as
Oh, we're lazy.
Yeah.
We're very. I mean, we've got. Life has never been better for humans than it is
But,
currently right now,
yeah.
right? But it's
Future
a
generation.
but it's a double-edged sword,
Yeah.
right? Because that, like you said, it takes away the part about being responsible,
Yeah.
right? Everything's deflected. Like you were saying, you got people that you know that will just say, "Oh, I'm depressed," or "I'm this," or "I'm
Yeah.
that."
Cause they treat mental illnesses as like an aesthetic. Like it's
Yeah,
just
it's
fun.
it's actually cool. And it's attractive in a way.
You know that
you
they
know?
don't understand what it is when they use it so like
Really?
loosely as an excuse. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't do my homework because I have ADHD. Someone with real ADHD will never say something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not an excuse.
No, we
Yeah.
hide it. We put masks on. Are
Exactly.
you kidding me?
Yeah.
No one ever saw me broken. We hide for
Yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
This is all a pity parade, right? So they become
Yeah.
popular because of that. People empathize. Oh,
Yeah.
poor you, right?
The
So
victim system.
let's move on to the next thing here that I want to touch on. With girl thinks that she's the prize. I love this video.
Where do I begin, my guy? You got a lot of dip on your chip, and I feel like the way that you coming at everybody else with like, oh, I'm alpha male, like, you know, whatever. Like, you're not used to a dominant woman. I feel like you are like, it's easy kind of coming to you to belittle women a little bit. I understand where you coming from with everything that you do, and confidence is cool, but like, know the difference a little bit. What you gonna say about my tooth, bro?
Why would I want a dominant woman when
Next.
I'm the dominant one?
You know?
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead. What's
Do
up?
you think you're the prize?
I know I'm the prize.
You're the prize to the men you don't want.
Okay.
When you get a man that you actually want, please believe me, we're the prize.
Your nigga.
So did you guys get that?
I think
So
she fell in love.
so she basically was telling him that she's the prize, right? And he said, "You're the prize to the men that you don't want." Right? So all the men that might be chasing a specific girl online, oh my God, she posted a picture. You're gorgeous. You're amazing. You're this. Those are all simps.
Yeah.
They're all beta males, right? So the girl loves that attention. So every time she's feeling a bit down, I'm just going to post a half naked photo of myself. I'll have a million strangers, who knows who they are around the world, saying you're hot, you're hot, you're hot, whatever, right? And she wants none of those men. So if any one of those guys got her, yeah, she is the prize. But any guy that she wants, that she desires, that she wants to end up, courting with and having as a partner, because she sees the quality that this man has. If she is able to get him, he is the prize.
Well, and they are the ultimate prize if it's mutual and
Yeah.
it
It's
works.
never mutual.
Well, no, a woman like that, it won't ever be.
No, but I'm saying both ways. I'm speaking very bluntly here, okay?
Yeah.
In a relationship, one will always love more than the other. One will always give more than the other. That is the fundamental rule in every
The one that
relationship.
dated up will the one that
That's
dated
it.
up will
So-
always love more than the one that dated
And,
down.
and I will tell you this as well. I don't care how people take this. A man should marry a woman that loves him more than a woman marrying a man that loves her more.
I agree.
And I'll explain why.
I
The
agree.
woman will get bored.
Hundo P.
The woman will get bored. A woman needs that challenge. A woman always, if a man, by the way, both ways will be fine. He's okay with chasing the woman all the time, like he's the one getting more love, and most men are not okay with the woman loving more. Mind you, that's a healthier relationship. The reason for that is that women like chaos. Women don't like comfort. And I'm not saying in a bad way. I'm not saying that they like to be destructive and, cause fights and all that. But women like a challenge. A man is really simple. A man only needs a few things to be happy. Okay? You give him some food, give him a little bit of space and sex, and he's good to go. And you can make him the same sandwich every single fucking day. They'll eat the same breakfast, the same lunch. He's fine. As long as you give him some peace of mind and you have sex with him, he's fine. But a woman, because she's emotionally based, she needs more stuff to be taking place. She needs that child, that constant courting and that thing about chasing and so on. A woman likes that. So you have to keep a woman's emotions going. If it's going to be the same all the way through, a woman's going to get bored eventually. So I know you're not agreeing with what I'm saying.
I'm not agreeing, but I do have a different take on it because I believe what you're saying would depend on what age we're talking.
All ages.
See, there's
A woman, when it comes to women, the whole new thing is that, I'm not going to serve a man. I'm not going to do this for a man. Well, you're not going to get a good man.
Oh, and I'm not saying,
Right?
like,
So-
I love wholeheartedly. I'll give you everything, my loyalty, my trust, everything. I don't put bad things.
So who do you think is going to be putting in more into the relationship on the emotional side? A woman has to, because she's emotionally based. A man is incapable of putting more in the emotional side. A man is a rational human being. A woman is an emotional human being.
Which is the
I
nice
love your
way of
facial
saying.
expression.
Which is the nice way of saying an irrational. They're rational. We can be irrational.
100% women can be irrational.
I mean, then
A woman can be way more irrational than a man. A woman that's been hurt is a dangerous woman.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
scorn.
God. Like a woman, when it comes to being vengeful, there's no such thing as the vengeance of a woman. I've said this before. A woman can take a peasant man and turn him into a king, and take a king and turn him into a peasant.
I don't disagree.
You agree with that, right? A man can't do that. A man can't break a woman. He can't. A woman cannot be, because women are stronger emotionally. A man can be broken emotionally. A woman can't. Why? Because you're completely emotionally based. And that's why a woman can be way more irrational than a man, because a man is rationally based. This is just science. It's not my opinion.
And I'm not taking it as
So I know that if I want to, I can piss off all 5 of you based on certain things that I'm going to say, and you'll get offended to it. But I know no matter what I say to Chris, it's not going to offend
I'm the
me.
exception here.
But see, I would say the same. And
No,
that's where I was going.
Men don't. So men, again, see, what I'm trying to get at is that emotionally, and this is the thing men love about women. We love you because you're emotional. If you were rational thinkers like us, fuck, I don't want that. I don't want some dude, a girl with a dude mentality. No.
See, I was just about to say, I'm a bit of a tomboy, and I do have
Even that, but you're still feminine. What that means is that if, for example, there's going to be, let's say if you meet a guy, okay, you have certain expectations of that man.
I have certain expectations for any human.
No, we're talking about a person that you're going to be dating.
Interested in dating. Okay, yes, to certain, yes.
Yeah,
I'll give
so
you
if you're going to be, so for example, Val, if you meet a guy, how tall are you?
5'4", I think.
Would you date a guy who's 5'2"?
No.
No, never. Would you date a guy who's weaker than you?
Sure.
No, you would not. So, for example, if you're walking down the street, or let's say if you're living with someone,
Yeah.
okay, and it's 3 a.m, and you hear the window being broken downstairs, and there's burglars in your house, you're gonna go downstairs, or do you want your man to man up and say he's gonna go downstairs?
I want him to pick up the phone and call the cops.
That's it.
I like
But what if
I don't want him to die.
But what if it came down to someone has to go downstairs? You're gonna go, or he's gonna go. What kind of man would you want in bed with you? Would you want a man like, Val, I'm not going downstairs. You go down. Oh my God. And then he starts hiding under the blankets. Or do you want a man that's like, listen, babe, just chill out. I'm gonna go down and check out what's going on.
I mean,
It's not that complicated.
no, because like I like the flattering part of him being like, "Don't worry, I got this."
Well, that's a man. It's not flattering. He's a man.
But the thing is, I don't think that if he doesn't like be like, "Okay, I'm gonna go," I don't think that would make him entirely weak.
So let me ask you this: if that happens and he's like crying under the blankets, I'm so scared. You're gonna lose attraction to him.
I would cry with him.
But you would lose attraction to him. 100% is a part of your DNA. Women are drawn to confident, strong men. Men
Okay.
are drawn to women who have traditional values and they can give them babies.
Take the danger out.
It's in your DNA.
Take the danger out of it, okay? Just say a skunk or a raccoon comes running in your house, okay? Who's going downstairs to get the raccoon out of the house? You or the guy?
Oh.
That's I ain't doing that.
Fair analogy, but I guess because I was single for
Well,
a
fair.
period of time,
fair.
that I became very self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but even being a very self-sufficient woman, if a woman is feminine, like it's a different story if you have no feminine qualities, then I wouldn't even talk to you.
Right.
But if you're a woman, you're feminine. Okay? So all you women here are feminine, right? So if you have feminine qualities, you're going to be attracted to a man who has masculine qualities, not feminine qualities.
Yeah, that's our winning.
If you have a boyfriend, you're in a serious relationship, and every week he cries to you about going to work. Oh, Jim at my office, he's so mean to me. I don't want to go to work today. I really don't. You're like, buddy, fucking suck it up and go to work. Every week he cries. Oh, we have a meeting again today. Jim's going to pick on me. I don't know what you do. Starts crying. You're going to find that attractive in him?
No, but not on anyone, to be honest.
Pardon me?
That's just annoying in general.
Women do this. What do you
And
mean it's
that's
annoying in
annoying.
general? But all women do this. It's accepted. Women
It's
do
not
this.
okay.
No, it is okay because women are emotionally based. Men are okay with that. Men, we're going to play the role of being a protector and comfort you. Say, it's okay, babe. Don't worry about it. If Lisa bothers, I'm going to punch her in the face. And you're going to giggle and laugh, and you're going to go to work. And the next week again, you're like, oh, I have to work with Lisa again. She's such a bitch. She's so mean. And it's okay because you're a woman. You're emotionally driven.
And the thing is too, like if they don't tell us what's going on, we're like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Is there anything wrong? What's wrong? Did we do something wrong? And then we do that to the guy, pestering over and over when they are not, because some guys don't want to communicate how they feel, right? Because they're men, they're hardwired in different ways, right? So some men won't come home and complain, and the ones that
But the reason they're not communicating is not because they don't want to.
it's just
So
because they're
listen,
handling it.
women vent because they want to vent. They're not venting for a solution. They just want to let it out.
Yeah.
So if you at school had a bad day or at work you had a bad day, you want your man to basically tell you that you're not overreacting, and he takes your side
The validation.
to validate you, even though in his head he's saying, well, I was a little bit crazy. That wasn't even that big of a deal. But he's going to say, I understand she was a bitch. I totally get it, sweetheart. You're totally right. He's going to, now you feel better, right? If a guy's having a bad day, a woman automatically thinks, oh, he's going to want to talk about it. No. If he talks about it, it's going to make him feel worse.
What brings it back to that moment?
Because the only time he's going to want to talk about it is if he wants you to help him find a solution. Otherwise, he's not going to talk about it. And if you're going to try to change that in him, I feel sorry for both of you guys further years down the road. A man will only talk about his problem if he wants you to help with a solution. Otherwise, let him be. He's going to go into his cave. He's going to think about his problem, come up with a solution. He might call his buddy or somebody else, and you're like, okay, I got option A and B to think about. Okay, that's what I'm going to go with. And now he's going to come back and he's going to be totally fine. But the woman's upset now. What's wrong? Why won't you talk to me? Why didn't you talk to me before? Why don't you feel comfortable talking to me about your problems? Because you can't solve them for me.
Yeah.
I don't need reassurance because I'm an event. So if I'm driving home and I just got off the phone and the conversation went horribly wrong and the deal might fall through and I'm pissed I spent 6 months on it. Now when I come home for me to complain about that, I'm not going to complain to you because you can't tell me how to possibly get that deal back on track again. I might call a buddy of mine who we talk. We're very close. He runs the business. I do as well. He might give me 2-3 pointers. I'll go, okay, I'm going to try them out. Now I feel better. I'm back to being normal again. But the woman can't get that. Like, why can't you just talk to me? Because I don't want to talk about it.
Well, I think there needs to be at least some form of communication to let the woman know that, oh, it was something from work, don't worry about
Why? But why does the woman have to be reminded again and again and again each time?
I agree with you actually on that one wholeheartedly because I am in a relationship where communication is a thing. With that said, non-communicating is also a thing.
Yeah.
It's reading body language. I read the language. If you want to talk, I'm here, but there's some mornings where I won't say a word. And I just allow him to do his process because it gives him that time. If I was in his ear, like most women, that's why working with women is difficult because I do see
No
both
way.
sides.
Can you repeat that again?
I'm just going to admit it. Sorry, ladies, but working with women is a lot.
Oh my God. I didn't know that.
Oh,
So, like what you were saying about why don't they at least let you know?
Yeah.
It says I'm gonna play the devil's advocate on that and say the same thing for men. Men have this stupid problem that if a woman is complaining, that they put on their fix-it hat and try to come up with a solution, whereas the woman's just venting.
Right.
So you might basically be telling him, I hate working where I work, my manager's an asshole, blah, blah, blah. And he might tell you, why don't you quit and look for a new job? Oh my God, I love my job. Why would you say that? Because you complain about your manager every week to me? No, I love my job. So I was like, okay, so your manager's not that bad. No, I hate my man. So a man just needs to realize that you just want to vent. You're not asking him to come up with a solution. This is where you've got men are from Mars and women are from Venus, because we are polar opposites that way. So if we were just able to get that part in line where a woman understands that when I am having a bad day, I need to communicate. And all I want my man to do is to shut up, acknowledge that I'm not overreacting, I'm not being crazy, and validate my feelings. When my man is having a bad day, I have to stay quiet and leave him alone. And say, if you want to talk, I'm here. You know, I got it. No problem.
Right.
But women can't do that.
Well, see, I actually have a thing with the person I'm with now, which is when he knows I've had a bad day, I just say, you know what, just play with my hair and tell me I'm pretty. And I don't vent. I won't ruin his day with my nonsense, because then I'm just reliving it. But that's sort of the code. Just tell me I'm pretty and play with my hair. And that's all I
cool.
need.
So again, it's emotional validation, right?
Yeah.
Whereas a man, he's not going to say, "Oh, tell me I'm handsome, I feel better." He just needs his space.
Yeah.
He's going to come back once he's figured it out. If he hasn't figured it out, he might even ask you. But to poke at him and blah blah. So this is the part that I find that women and men, once they understand this about each other, the communication gets way better. It doesn't turn into a heated argument. It doesn't feel like the woman thinks that he didn't even hear what I was even saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm expressing my feelings about how I feel about something that really matters to me, and here he is telling me stuff that I should do. I didn't ask him.
Yeah, but
something
women
I should
set
do.
themselves up for this too. You had the last loaded questions like, oh, does this make me look bad, or is this make me look pretty? Don't ask that question, because you either want an honest person.
How many times have I asked questions and then like questions on how to do something, and Chris will start explaining it to me, but then I'll remember how to do it. I'm like, I don't need you to mansplain it to me.
But you're
And I'll flip it on him.
Yeah.
But then it was you that also taught me, like, one of the things I do now is like certain things that if I don't know something, and if I do know it, but I don't know it, I'll be like, oh, I can't figure out how to plug this into my computer. I need, like, can you figure it out for me? And he feels empowered, right?
Of course.
Right? And then like me, I'm like, okay, I get it done, and he felt stroking his ego. It's a win-win. Like,
It is though.
Listen, men like the feeling of that they're taking care of their woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they like that. The same way, like this. I want to come back to Val on this. That you were saying that some guys nowadays want you to be like their mom. Like,
Yeah.
So explain that to me. What do you mean by that?
It's just, I feel that it's because of what you said, that they're not emotionally based, you said?
Yeah.
Which I can see it, but I don't know why it has to keep being that way. You know what I mean?
But you're saying that they want you to what, to cook for them or
Yeah, to do
clean
stuff
up
for them. And they do
Okay.
nothing. So, for example, we're in a relationship and I'm trying to make it work to be serious, like for both of us, blah, blah. And then let's say, never happened to me personally, but let's say we're living together. And then I come back from work, he comes back from work, he starts watching TV. And he expects me to take care of dinner, do the laundry, take care of him. Why?
Why not?
Because it's our house.
So.
Well, we are both paying the bills, so we should both take care of the house.
But
Why
what-
should I
so
do
if-
everything
if
and
we're-
go to work?
So if, for example, your car got a flat tire, who's gonna fix that?
If it's my car,
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Then you're dating the wrong man.
Yeah.
Not really. 'Cause
Yeah.
I do like to be independent.
But then you don't need then basically your attitude is that you don't need a man.
I don't know. I don't.
You don't need a man?
No.
Of course you need a man.
No, I can want it, but I don't need it
How can
because I can live without.
a woman needs a man and a man needs a woman?
I don't like that.
You may not like it, but it is what it
it's
is.
human nature. I hate to admit
Like, I'm
it.
sorry,
I disagreed
like-
with him at first, and after about a year of him providing multiple examples, he's kind of right. It's science. When it
You
comes
cannot-
down to it's human nature.
You're
There-
not.
a woman cannot survive without a man, and a man cannot survive without a woman. First of all, women in general, I want you to understand this because I hear this all the time that women say we don't need men.
Mm-hmm.
So you believe you don't need men, right?
No, because I don't feel like it should be like a dependent thing. Like I don't feel like my partner should.
No, but I'm
depend
saying,
on me,
do
I
you
should
feel
depend
that
on him.
women need men?
No.
Okay, so you know the entire infrastructure of this world, over 95% of it is built by men.
Yeah, but why?
What do you mean? Why?
Because it's a
Because women
patriarchal
can't do it.
society.
Because we can't do it,
You
or
can't-
because
you can't
we
do
were
it.
not allowed because of
You
society.
can't do it. You're incapable of doing it. There's certain jobs that you just cannot do. Working in oil rigs, working underground, building railways, and so there's certain things that women just physically cannot
And
do.
ask you a serious question. Every time you call Rogers, every time you call Bell, how many female technicians show up?
I've had a few honestly.
How many
No.
though? How many out
I'm
of a
sorry.
man?
I've been with Rogers and Bell. I have a company for 25 years. Every tech has been a male.
Every male.
And
Very
so,
rarely.
For
you get a
example, if
female.
all of a sudden there was a big winter ice storm and all the power went out, 98% of the tech workers that go out to put all the power lines back are all men.
Yep.
Okay? The world today is safer for women than it's ever been before because of men. It's never been safer. The cell phone you use, the roads you drive on, the transit, every single thing that you do, the food that you buy, all the manufacturing companies, majority of the people that work and built all of this stuff are men.
Windows, doors,
Everything.
bricklayers.
So they did a study and they said that if there was an ice storm, let's say in the city of Mississauga or Toronto, and all the power went down, they had professional people assess the situation if it was all females who were working. And they based it on statistics on how many female workers would be there to put the power lines back up and whatever. They said that the first thing that would happen after that is most of the houses would be on fire. Because women would start burning wood and shit for heat.
Yeah.
There's no power in the winter. They'd be freezing. And then now there'd be house fires. And if there's house fires, there's not enough female firemen. So the city would just burn down to the ground.
Well, the whole system, you're right though. I mean, think about even something as simple as clearing snow. How many females do you see at
No.
3 a.m. clearing snow off
Or-
driveways?
Yeah. Or even like the plow truck drivers who drive on the highway. These people who do like the most dangerous jobs are men. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's not. Like I'm not trying to like change the reality because that's society. I get it. But I don't see why it has to stay that way. That's my point.
The fact about why does it have to stay that way, it's not about why it has to stay that way. It is about that's just the way it is.
Yeah, but why?
Because women are weaker physically.
Yeah.
You're weaker physically. That's the reality. When it comes to endurance, when it comes to, even when they talk about the pay gap isn't blown apart. It's not true. There is no pay gap. Women actually get paid more money than men do. They were just basically comparing if a woman and a man worked at a certain position, how much they made at the end of the year. Then they annualized and said, are you looking at how many hours they work? They said, oh, the women work less hours. Well, of course you didn't get paid less. Women actually get paid more money than men do. But the hard, dirty jobs, nobody wants them. Chimney sweepers, bricklayers, people clean the sewers, plumbers, all the tough jobs. Women are not doing them. They want the CEO jobs of, I want to sit on top of a company and be in charge. And that's the part they're complaining about. No. Why don't you go look and see how many women are in the workforce when it comes to the jobs where they get their hands dirty? You're not going to see a lot of them. Because most women, listen, if I was a woman, I'd be happy sitting at home having my man take care of me.
Really?
100%, yeah.
See, I loved being a slash stay-at-home mom slash working mom because I worked in the restaurant bar industry when I was your age. So for me, I worked Thursday night.
I'm sorry, if you were my woman, I would not allow you to work at a restaurant bar on weeknights, having guys hit on you and stuff. No way. Ain't happening.
Okay, now to be fair, I did divorce that man, but that wasn't the reason.
But I'm saying
I was able to handle myself.
it doesn't matter. Listen, if you're
And for $100,000 a year.
if you're I don't care if it's for a million. I don't need a woman to make money. I make my own money, enough to provide for everybody. So whatever money you make, it doesn't matter to me. So a man will meet a woman who works in retail or even works at McDonald's, and he could be a millionaire, and he'll marry her. But a woman who's worth $1 million, who's a millionaire, will never marry a guy who works at McDonald's. That's not going to happen. Never. Men will. Okay. So back to my question to you earlier was, I asked you wouldn't date a guy that's shorter than you, right?
No.
Okay. And physically, you're saying if he's weaker than you, you're okay with that.
Yeah, I don't care.
You would find that attractive.
Not attracted because that's.
Would you not be more attracted to a man who's stronger than you? So if you had a heavy box to lift, he can lift it for you, whereas it has to be you.
Well,
He's like, I can't carry this case of water. You got to carry it.
No, if he cannot.
That's what I just
take the water,
said.
He needs to go to the doctor.
No, but I'm saying that's not attractive, right?
No, I guess not. But
So if you were in a situation where you went to a nightclub or you were in a mall and some guy bumped into you by the shoulder and he's with you and the guy told you off and pushed you, you'd want this guy to just like, oh my God, like you're on your own here, Val? Or would you want him to defend you?
yes, but that's another thing. I don't like the guys that just throw punches.
I'm not talking about
No,
that.
no, no.
We're not.
If you're talking strong.
No,
like
I'm talking about a masculine man who's going to protect his woman. You're saying you're okay with the guy, like when that happened, he ran away. And you look back like, where'd he go? And then this guy pushed you again. Because you said you can handle yourself, right?
Yeah.
Would
but
you
then-
not want your man to be able to defend you?
But then I want to ask, what do you mean by weak? Because
This is my definition of weak. This is my, so I'm,
I thought you meant like physically.
no, listen. You know, when it comes to someone who's afraid, right? And someone who's a hero, they're both the same thing. The only difference is the hero's willing to face his fears. He still has the fears,
Yeah.
but he's willing to face them. The coward runs away.
Yeah.
So a man, even though he might be like, oh, I don't feel super confident in the situation, but I'm still going to face it, that's a real man. So if you're with a man and some guy bumps you when you're walking in a mall and says, hey, bitch, and pushes you, get the fuck out of my way. And then your guy's there and then he runs off and hides behind a pillar. I was like, oh, Val, you're on your own.
Oh no, I wouldn't like that.
So you want a man that's stronger than you.
Yeah, if you put it like that, yes.
Yes,
But also,
that's-
I wouldn't like someone that just like assumes that I cannot handle it. Like
This is
the other
not-
extreme.
you're not-
I just want to make it clear.
See, the problem here is that you keep wanting to prove this point that you're equal to men,
Right.
to a
No.
man. That you
No,
don't
that's
need a
not
man
my
in that way. That you don't need a man in this area. Yes, you do. And if you find a man who's actually a real man, you're going to feel secure. And you're going to feel better because that's his role.
But can we just establish that real man doesn't necessarily mean he knocks him out? Real man
Yeah.
just says.
We're not talking about that. If it comes down to it, yeah.
But my ex did that.
No, but I'm saying if it came down to your house got broken into, some guy came in there with a knife into your bedroom.
Different.
You just want to talk to the guy?
No,
you have to, there you go.
Oh, that's different.
He might have to have that ability
I
if
agree
need be.
wholeheartedly.
What were you going to say?
I was just thinking, women are getting all sorts of messages right now in our current state right now, and it's confusing because we want to feel strong, we want to feel we can be independent, but it's confusing what we really want.
So let me ask you, Val, if you go out for dinner with someone, let's say if a guy asks you out on a date, do you expect him to pay?
If he asked me, yeah.
Okay, so in that area, you feel that he's responsible in paying.
If he asked me, yeah.
Okay, so if he obviously he's the one's gonna. Most of the time, it's the guy, right? So if he asks you out, he's expected to pay for dinner.
Yeah.
Why
Can
is
I ask
that?
you a question?
If
you asked
if
him
he
out.
asked me out on a
Okay,
date,
if you asked, but if you asked him out, would you
I
expect
would
him to
pay.
pay?
Okay, so if he asks you out, if he asks you out, you expect him to pay.
Yeah.
Why is that?
because he asked me out.
No, but I thought it should be equal. Why should he have to pay and feed you? You're
Because
independent.
he asked me. Because
It doesn't
he
make a
was the one
difference.
who
You're also there eating, and you guys are sharing company and enjoying each other. Why should he have to be paying to feed you? If you want things to be even, it should be you pay 50%.
I mean, if we both agree on a date, sure. Because I've dated guys that like.
Like it's not like they forced you to go out.
No, but I
You
mean,
wanted to.
but I mean, when I've had both scenarios where it was 50-50 and when he paid, and the difference between one another was that one question was, would you go out on dinner with me?
Okay.
That he asked me.
And what was the other
He put
question?
the place. The other was, do you want to go out sometimes?
It's the
Oh,
same
yeah, sure.
thing.
And then I said we could go to the amusement park, and then he said, oh sure. Like that was like we both.
Listen,
came
it's
up.
not. Oh, we're gonna have like a whole thing about what he said, how he said it. Either way, the guy's taking you out. So a gentleman will pay for the meal. That's what a guy should do. The same way the guy should open the car door if he's going to be asking you out, or hold the door open for you if you go to a restaurant. If you don't want these qualities in a man, you're sending mixed signals now to men, and you're telling them, I don't want you to be a man. It's in a man's nature to be a gentleman, right? Chivalry, to open the door and hold the door before a woman, that's a gentleman thing to do. But
Yeah.
women are saying, I don't need no man. I can hold the door open myself. All right, then
I
open
think
it
it's a
yourself.
little bit less clear for the younger generation
Yes.
because
Yes.
things aren't getting passed on
Yeah,
as much.
they're confused. They're super
There's-
confused.
there's-
So women are like, oh, if any man's gonna want to date me, he's gonna have to pay. You know, if he wants to take me out, if he asks me, he's got to pay. But at the same time, I don't need a man. Well, which is it?
The
If-
best for the women. Have you seen this online that are like, this man wouldn't pay for my sitter,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't go on a date with him. How dare he? Or like,
Or
they're
pay
like,
for my nails.
or no, or like pay for my 3 kids from 3 different dads.
Yeah.
Like, how dare he?
Well, that's the new culture. The new culture is that if you're gonna ask me out, you got to pay for a sitter.
Yep.
You got to pay for my nails.
Yep.
Pay for my hair if I'm gonna come looking
No,
pretty.
that's insane.
I'm so.
Yeah, no, and like it's a common occurrence. I've seen multiple videos like that. Like, yeah, like women are like, you want me to come out, then you gotta pay for the sitter. Like, you're the one that wants me there.
You know, women are today's generation. Women are able to attract a man, right? They put on makeup. It takes like 2 hours to put it on, and whatever they do with their fake eyelashes and all that stuff. And men find it attractive, right? So you can attract the man, right? But that's it. You can't keep the man. So women have the skill of attracting the man, but then after that, it's like, then they call them fuckboys because, oh, I slept with him after 2 nights and now he doesn't call me anymore. And
Well,
he's-
that standard could be applied to men too.
Yeah.
Because it does take a certain characteristic of a man to even lead a woman. So I think in today's generation, there's a lack of that leadership.
No, there isn't. The problem is that women have shot that leadership down and called it toxic masculinity.
It's
So
masculine.
men are afraid to take leadership because
Well,
they
I'm
feel like,
old school.
well, the minute a man takes leadership, he's now controlling. You can't tell him what to do. I don't need a man. Don't tell me what to wear. Don't tell me who to hang out with. What? So it's either you want these, you know, like feminine type guys who paint their nails black and shit, and that's what you're into. But if you want a real man, what do you think he wants from you? Do you think he wants you to tell him, I don't need a man? No. You think he wants you to tell him, I'm not going to do this and that for you? If you want a real man is going to be somebody who's got morals and values.
Yes.
So you want him to respect you, right? To take care of you emotionally, to be there for you, to protect you as well too physically, right? To make your life better. That's what his role really is to make your life better. What do you think that kind of a man wants in return? Just company?
I have an answer.
Yep.
Humility, gratitude.
But what else?
He wants a woman who's gonna cook. He wants to come home. He wants his house clean. He wants to make sure his kids are educated. That
Yeah,
they're getting
he
dropped
wants a
off
woman-
at school on time.
He wants a woman with traditional values.
I have traditional values, but I'm just going to tell you right now, I could never cook, still can't. I'm a horrible cook, but I can bake, so that's been a job for my partner.
See, this type of stuff, the reason that this is more valuable to a man, a lot of women think, oh, he's just going to be with me just because, you know, I've got, you know, great tits and an ass and I wear makeup a certain way and I'm seductive in the bedroom and that's it. No, that might get you the man, but to keep the man, that's not going to do it.
He wants
Because
to feel
every
appreciated.
woman offers that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every woman's got tits and ass.
Well,
Getting
values
it up.
are important.
Getting-
Values are
Yeah,
very
It
important.
is.
Every woman has a vajayjay. So you're nothing special. Every woman knows how to have sex. Whoop-de-doo. And what else? No, that's it. And then have the attitude, I don't need a man. Well, the guy's just going to fuck you and leave you.
Well, it's also the same with when they go into track pants and herring buns now that they have the person. So they started out glam and glitz, and then all of a sudden, a couple months in, well, why am I going to bother?
But even that, as a man, I'm okay with that. That's cute. No problem.
I like to look nice.
Which is
when he
nice,
comes home,
which
and
is
that's-
great. But I'm saying that if the most important part that women are forgetting is that there's certain roles for a man and certain roles for a woman. So if you came home and you got a flat tire, your man should step up and fix the flat tire for you. You shouldn't have to go out there if it's in the middle of winter, it's minus 20. You got to shovel the driveway, you got to jack up the car. You don't even know how to even change a flat tire, most likely. And you might even hurt yourself doing it or cause the car to fall or whatever. That's a man's thing to do. And if he does that for you, you're going to appreciate him way more. Like, wow, my man did that. You're nice and cozy and warm inside. He's out there doing that. If you gotta take out the garbage, your man's gonna take out the garbage. If your toilet gets clogged and there's shit coming all up, that's his responsibility. That's what a man does. And in return, sorry, go ahead.
Not every man might know how to fix a tire, but even just like as a general basis for relationships in general, there needs to be an exchange.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I'm doing certain things for my man, then of course, like I would expect that he's doing certain things for me to know that he cares for me. So if my man's not taking care of me in certain ways that maybe I can't do for myself, then
But imagine if you're letting your man know that you don't need a man over and over again. I don't need you to do anything for me. I can do it myself. So the guy's like, all right, go do it yourself.
Yeah, have at it.
And like, go ahead. I'm not going to help you with a flat tire. I'm not going to help you with this or that. Now, all of a sudden, what's the point now of even being in this relationship?
right.
It's just a relationship of convenience now.
Right. Well, if he
What the
doesn't
hell?
know how to fix a flat tire, he could take it to the mechanic for
That's cool. Or he can figure it out.
Or he can
Either way, that headache should be his.
Right.
Whether he lies to you and said he went to a mechanic and he says he did it himself, I don't care, but that's his problem.
I wouldn't mind. He could take care of that.
Yeah. If, for example, you live in a house and the pipe bursts in the basement, and now you have a plumber coming in, are you going to be the one talking to the plumber? And the plumber's going to take advantage of you? Or should your man be the one talking to him and working
I
out
would
the deal?
prefer if he were to be
There
the
you
one
go.
to do it. That would
Thank
be better
you.
for me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden in a room you want to put up 12 shelves, you want to do that? Or you want your man to do that? If I'm a woman, I just want to sit back and watch TV and drink a glass of wine and let him go and break his back.
I mean, I wouldn't mind doing certain things together, even like
Which
as
is fun, but I'm saying
couple.
overall, when it comes to a lot of this physical stuff, if your man can do it, great. Right?
Mhm.
So what is the return on that? If your man looked after your flat tire, if you had one of the neighbors, let's say if you live in a condo in a building, and someone in the building downstairs in the male area called you a bitch and swore at you and was nasty and rude to you for no reason, and you would not want your man to go look after that and tell this guy next time, let's say both of you guys walked in, but that's the guy. You want your man to go, I'm not going to say anything to him. Jump in the elevator quickly, please. You want the man to go, hey, buddy, come over here. Don't you fucking talk to my woman again like that.
Mhm.
That's going to, I don't give a shit who the woman is. She's going to get turned on by that.
You're not wrong. There's something about someone taking control of the
Yeah.
situation and saying, you know, baby, you just sit in the corner.
I got
like
it.
this.
I got it. Now, what should you tell your man that you got? If your man's hungry, make him a sandwich.
Your goddamn lunch is in the fridge. There's hot dinner on the table. Your
Yeah.
laundry's folded. Hot warm socks for tomorrow
Yeah,
morning.
man.
Hey, I'm
Boots
gonna
are
lose my
clean.
boyfriend by tomorrow with he hears that that's what I'm supposed to do. I'll do the laundry and I'll do your socks and I'll love you to death, but I can't cook.
That's okay. That's,
But you
you
never
can bake. That's amazing. The point here is that you're serving your man.
Yes.
And you're showing him appreciation aside from just being vocal about it. And women today will not, they're like, I'm not going to do that. Well, that's why you're single.
It doesn't need to be everything on the list,
Yeah.
but I think there needs to be that exchange.
There has to be, you have to have traditional values
Mm-hmm.
if you want to keep a good man.
Mhm.
If you're not going to have traditional values, he's just going to use you for sex and then he's going to be gone. And then you're going to be thinking in your head, because you're delusional, that because I got this one high value man, but he ditched me after 2 weeks, I deserve high value men. No, that man just slept with you. You're out of your league. That guy's completely out of your league. You'll never get a guy like that to commit to you. So women become delusional, and then their years go by, and they're wondering, oh my God, I'm waiting for these high value men. How come no one's putting a rock on my fingers? Because you don't have the qualities that he's looking for. You're only good just to get him and to have sex with him, but moving forward above and beyond that, he's not going to commit to you. He's not going to put a rock on your finger. Why would a man want a woman who's a headache to say, I'm not going to cook for you. I'm not going to clean for you. If you want that, go to your mother. The guy's like, all right.
That's not what I meant.
No. I'm not saying,
I do want to clarify that.
I'm not saying you said that. All I'm saying is that men need certain things from women. And women tend to think that a man is attracted to a woman who's got masculine qualities. The biggest turnoff is a woman with this attitude, I don't need a man. That's what a man is supposed to be saying. A man doesn't need a man. A woman being masculine, saying, I don't need a man. I make my own money. I make my own decisions. I don't need a man. That's, to me, such a turnoff. There's nothing gentle about that. Why would any man want to approach a woman like that? Unless he's clever, he just wants to bang her, and he's going to leave. He's not going to put a rock on her finger.
Well, by saying that, the guard's already been put up.
Yeah.
By saying,
So it means you don't value a man. So any man who goes through, he's a simp or is a beta. He's not a leader. A man wants a woman who has that intuition. She's in touch with her feminine side. That to a man is attractive. A woman who's nurturing.
Yeah, empathetic.
So if he was outside changing your tire for you in the winter and the jack came loose and he cut his arm, then when he comes inside, you're going to clean the cut for him. He's acting like a little baby, obviously, at that time. And you're going to Band-Aid it and you're going to make him feel good. That's going to empower him.
You're gonna kiss it better.
Yeah. And the next day, let me look at it again. Let me change the, even though it's like a little scratch, and he'll be like, oh yeah, thanks, babe. But he's going to feel like a warrior.
Yeah.
But if you just ignore it, he's not going to go change the tire the next time. This is the nurturing side. And
Yeah.
where did he learn the nurturing side from, Olga?
His own mother.
Yeah. His mother. That's where the nurturing side came in. So a woman, a traditional woman who's of high value will want a man that has some similar qualities if she was raised in the right household.
Yeah.
She'll want a man who can offer her the unconditional love that her father gave to her. Yeah. If you got unconditional love from your father, because those are the only two people that'll give you unconditional love is your mother and your father. Everything else has got conditions. So for a woman, it's a dream if she can meet a man who can love her the same way her father did. Meaning he'll forgive every wrongdoing. He'll always be on her side. He'll always be there for her. Isn't that what essentially every woman wants? And a man wants a nurturing woman that's like his mother.
Yeah.
That's just common sense. So if you meet a good man, don't fuck it up. If this guy, men couldn't care less about how much money you make. I don't care if you make 100 grand. I couldn't care less. I don't care how much you make. I don't care how, I'm happy for you that you're moving up in your career. I don't care about any of that shit. If I'm going to marry you, I'm going to put a rock on your finger. You're staying home. You want to have a side hustle? No, I don't want you to be going out working full time. The world outside there is crazy. It's tough. You're in a battle all the time. I don't want my woman to have that pressure on her shoulders that's just to go out and earn money. That's my job. I want you to be safe. You want to have a side business or side hustle you enjoy doing? I'll support it, no problem. But I want you at home. I want you looking beautiful, be relaxed, have no stress. None.
My son did that with his wife.
Yeah.
I have 4 grandchildren. They live in Calgary, and he adamantly said to her, "You will never work. I don't want you to work." And he's 34 now, and 4 girls.
Good.
6.
And again, if the woman wants to have a side hustle, hey,
Oh,
no
she
problem.
doesn't.
But if she wants to, okay.
Yeah.
But for her to actually be working somewhere full time with a boss who's giving her deadlines and all the shit, she has pressure, I don't want that for my woman. No, man, stay at home. But when I come home, I would like a home cooked meal. I don't be coming home and we're ordering food out. It's okay, a couple of times a week, we'll order it out. But I want my woman to make me food. That's the language of love for a woman. I want to come home and my woman's like, your laundry, you got to do it yourself. You got to cook and clean for yourself as well. Then why are you here? Well, I don't understand what the purpose, what's the dynamic here?
Well, I think both women and men sometimes have a hard time finding the right partner because there are even men out there that today can't necessarily fulfill those roles, like a being that kind of man. And same thing,
I think more women, sad to say, I'm just telling you, because what men are afraid to play that role now. Men have become very, very afraid to play this masculine role of taking the lead. It's considered toxic, so they just shut up. That's why the dating world's gotten really bad now. So many women complain that no one's approaching them.
Well,
They're not
also
going on
men are more
dates.
broken. I just in the sense broken families, men and women.
right.
Broken homes, second, third relationships. By the time you get to the third, you're kind of broke already, because you're paying off XYZ or you're doing whatever on whatever side. So it does make people more jaded, less open-minded, and sadly, women are putting up guards that send, like you said, mixed messages.
There are tons, I'm going to leave it on this when we go on a break. There are endless great men out there. Endless. The problem is not the men. The problem is you. The men are not approaching you because you're not the kind of woman that they want. So don't tell me there's no longer a big pool of great men. Yeah, there's a
Well,
ton of great men.
I
but
can say I'm picky. I'm
you can call it whatever you want. Listen, if you meet a man, you're calling it picky, right? But then you're gonna get to a certain age, then you're gonna then become desperate, and then after that, you're gonna be, your luck's gone at that point, right? After a certain age, with women, I don't care who the woman is. your value starts to depreciate as you get older. The demand for a man wanting to be with you is going to get less and less as you get older. So if you're in your 30s, good luck. The clock is ticking now. Why? Because a guy who's in his 40s, who's a high value man, he'll get a girl who's 25. Why would he want to be with some girl 35 who's already been through 6 guys and 8 relationships?
I would say it depends because, for example, like me myself, like I wouldn't date someone who's 50, for example. I was like, that's 20-year gap.
I'm not even saying that. I'm not talking about the fact that whether you would or not. There are other women who will.
There are.
So if there's a high value man who's 50,
yeah,
he'll get a chick who's 25 or 30.
It depending on what you can what you're considering high value.
High value
what
man
that
is
woman is
basically
looking for.
a high value man is someone who makes over 150K or 200K a year. And who's totally independent, who has morals and values, traditional morals and values, who believes in a higher being, has some religious values as well too, and wants a family. So a man like that, he already has...
My question would be, if he's such a high value man, maybe I understand that sometimes people will reach a certain point like of success later on in life, and maybe a man might not reach his point of success until he's 50. But my question to that man is, what took you so long to get married or to find a woman?
He didn't. Maybe he's already been married. He's divorced. Maybe he married the wrong woman.
That's a difference. That's a difference.
But that's what it is
and
with
that
most
happens
men.
for women too.
No, but most men in their 50s, that's what happens. They marry the wrong woman or a couple of the wrong women, and they're still in demand because of the fact that there's less than 1% of them in Canada. So they're high value for that reason. But they're looking for a loyal, devoted woman. And so when it comes to women, my point here is that as you get older and you're still single, you may think that, oh, well, you know, I'm very selective in regards to who I'm going to choose, whatever. The men, there's tons of great men, but those great men are not necessarily seeking women within that category. So you may feel there's not enough great men out there. No, there is. There's a ton of them. But there's not after girls who fall into that category. Because a guy who's in his late 30s, early 40s, he'll be able to be with a woman who's 25. He'll be able to marry, if he's successful, he'll be able to marry a woman who's 25. Why would he marry a woman in her 30s? There's no reason for that.
That's true, but 25 to 30 is not a huge age gap, first of all. And then if you're taking someone who's, let's say, in their early 20s and someone who's in their early 30s, a woman who's in her early 30s might bring a lot more to the table. She's more mature.
No, she's going to bring a lot more drama to the table.
Yeah. I get
more than anything else. A girl who's in her, for me, if I'm going to buy a car,
but that's
I want a car with less kilometers. No, it's a fact. A woman who's older, because she has more baggage, is going to bring more drama. I would much rather, if you're looking at a man who's in his 30s, even at late 30s, if he could, you know, court and marry a woman who's 24, 25, and opposed to a woman who's 35, he's going to go for the 25-year-old every single day of the week.
All day.
All day. Why? Because the woman who's 25 has got way less baggage. Way less baggage. She isn't jaded in any way. Her heart wasn't broken as badly, blah, blah. She didn't go through all of these little mini marriages, because these relationships are all like mini marriages, because you give your body up to the person.
Well, a man could be jaded as well. Like
not as much as a woman. Like, see, we talked about this before. A man can sleep with a woman, and it's literally like a handshake. Yeah. The next day, he won't even think about her. What did we talk? What did you tell me? When a woman sleeps with a man, what happens?
She bonds and she releases hormones that they don't release. Yeah.
So a woman, when she gives up her body and she has sex with a man, she bonds with him emotionally. Chemicals are released in her body. Otherwise, she can't do it. Right? Or she has to be drunk or on drugs. But most women cannot just sleep with a man. A man can. So there's a physical, emotional bond. And then there's trauma when the breakup takes place.
I'm not talking about like a fling or let's say something like short-lived.
Even if it's a 3-year,
like 4-year,
even a 3-4 year relationship, a woman will be, when a woman comes out of that, a piece of her has been taken, broken off, and left with that man. Now, when she goes through 3-4 of those, and when she finally gets married, because she's already had 4 failed relationships, that 5th one is going to most likely fail as well.
Well, let's say like a man who's been cheated on, for example, he might have now a jaded perception of women because he's been cheated on. And so...
Are we talking again about a high value man? Or you just want an average man?
Well, the thing
Two different things. A high value man most likely won't be cheated on. But if you're talking about an average man, then that's a different story. So what are you talking about? You're talking about someone. The reason I keep emphasizing
I'm
high value
saying men in general.
no, you
Men
can
in
you can't you cannot make that as a general statement. It's the same way that we're going to talk about a girl who's like 300 pounds overweight to a girl who's like a swimsuit model. You can't generalize them. They're both going to attract different type of men. So a high value man, Chris, when we did the stats, what was the number?
In Canada, 2.6% of the population of men makes over $120,000.
So if you go to 200 grand, even less than 1%, and some of them are gay.
Yeah.
So that less than 1% of men, 80% of the women are after them. That's why those men are called fuckboys, because these women think, oh, I can get him. No, you can get him, but you can't keep him. He'll just sleep with you. And now that woman's delusional, thinking these are the type of men that are in my category. No, you're aiming too high.
But what if the man just wants casual relationships and he's
He doesn't. The problem with women is a man wants to settle down. It's a difference if he's 20 years old.
Right.
But if a man is, again, a high value man who's making over 150K a year or 200K a year, he's successful. He has his own place, his own car, he travels a lot. He wants a permanent woman.
But it also depends on morality too. Like, what if he's someone who doesn't have?
Thank you. So that's why I was saying high value.
The money.
Including, it's not just money. It's having morals, having values, having some kind of religious belief, right? So he has traditional values in him. We're not just saying. A lot of podcasts you'll see, oh, high value man, he makes 200 grand. That's not it.
Right.
There's got to be way more. It's not just the money. It's got to be, he has morals, he has values, he has some religious belief, and he has some traditional values
that
as well.
kind of lowers the percentage of it.
Even more so. But still, all these women are after that. So what happens is these women, when they end up meeting a guy like that, the first thing they do is they give up the booty and they sleep with him.
So dumb.
They do. Within the first 2 days, they sleep with him. Just because they're over the moon about this guy. This guy is he's everything they ever want. So they sleep with him and think, oh yeah, we bonded. Because she felt that. He didn't. He thinks you're a hoe now.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest mistakes that the women make.
I'm thankful for my generation because, at least in my circle, numbers you didn't want to have. You low numbers were a good thing, or no numbers.
Oh, not now. Girls brag about it online.
Oh, we were talking about it before we came on. All these stupid lipstick parties and this, that, and it's nonsense. It's so self-deprecating. I don't even understand.
I want to kind of continue first on the previous thing we were talking about. I want to kind of make a couple of things clear. I'm not saying that in a relationship with a man and a woman that the woman must love her man more and the man must love his woman less. What I was saying was, women, just by your DNA, women are nurturers and gatherers. So you have way more compassion and empathy in you, and you have way more love in you than a man has. A man is a hunter, provider, protector. Okay? So the ideal relationship would be if you have a strong man. And when I say strong, I'm not talking that he's got muscles like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like he's not jacked. Strong man means strong-willed. Okay? So he has to have, a good head on his shoulders, right? And he has to be willing to take responsibilities. He might not like them, but he'll take them as they come along. So if there's a blizzard out and your car got stuck, he's gonna hate it, but he's gonna do it and get your car unstuck. If there's you had a leak in your basement and the water is like up to his knees, he's gonna go down there with the plumber and talk about shit and figure out. He's not gonna tell you to go down there while sitting on the couch. That's his responsibility. So he's gonna man up, right? And at the same time, he's gonna cater to your emotional needs, right? Because women are emotionally based. So if a man doesn't have that emotional maturity, there's always going to be that problem where a woman's going to feel incomplete, right? In that way, if a woman is more loving towards her man, over time, that man is going to become more loving towards his woman. That's just the way it's going to work. If a woman expects the man, in the beginning of the courtship part, yeah, the man's going to be very sweet and say all the right things he needs to say to you to get you, right? But from that moment on, if the woman doesn't step up her A game and is not loving him and nurturing him, he's going to leave. He needs that. Women fall in love with what they hear. All women, to court a woman, it's just basically what you say to her. Nothing else. If a guy can talk to a girl and he can say the right things, he's got her. And how do you get a man? What's the one way to get a man?
Well, looks,
That's it.
obviously.
Well, like
That's why women wear makeup.
they just did this study that, like, and it's funny because I thought of you because you always say that, right? Women fall in love with what they hear. So they did a social experiment. You can Google this, where this guy came out and he made a Tinder profile and he blatantly wrote in his bio he had been charged for domestic violence on an ex, saying, you know, I just want to be honest and blah blah blah. He had over 40,000 messages, women going, I like your honesty. You know what? Maybe she deserves, you know, women
Oh my
these days.
God.
Just,
See that?
you know, just throwing
crazy
these
talk.
figurative women under the bus, right? And like, can you believe, because it's how he wrote it, where it's like, you know, like, I know I did wrong, but I'm like seeking redemption, right? And women fall in
Yeah.
love with that
Yeah.
fucking bullshit.
Look at Richard Ramirez. Look
Oh,
at
the Night Stalker. Yeah, yes.
Look at people like any of the Menendez brothers.
Yeah.
Any of these clearly pathologically sociopath, all the above.
They have empathy for women.
And that's it.
Pity. Yeah.
And the women will just, oh, I can fix him and he's gonna be just my little.
There was, especially with that, there was
Yeah.
women that were like, oh, you can kill me. Like, it's crazy how, but it just goes to show you that they did this social experiment. It just shows a man can even blatantly tell you, I beat the shit out of my ex, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And women
And he might even like post, I wrote this, you know, this poem for her.
Yeah.
You know, about how I feel so bad about punching her in the face a few times,
I know, like, it's like,
kicking her in the throat, whatever.
you know.
You know,
it's
this kind of brings me to my point of this whole transgender ideology that's going on, and it's mainly men who are transitioning into becoming women.
MTF.
That's way higher than women transitioning over to becoming a man. And who are the biggest cheerleaders of this? Please speak up.
Oh, educators.
But who are they? What are men or women? Who are the biggest? Who are the biggest cheerleaders? Women.
women.
If I gave this example, if Christian walked in at the next podcast with a dress on and a wig and makeup, right, and a handbag and heels, he goes like, "Oh my God, you're so brave! It's amazing."
All that's playing in my head is that Creed song with Arms Wide Open.
Yeah.
Because that's how
That's
we
exactly
are. That's how we are.
Yeah. So you guys would be telling him different ways of putting on makeup, and I can teach you about how to shave your legs, and you're so brave, and you have to come for dinner with us, and you're part of the girls now. That's how women are. Whereas if Cheyenne walked in next week and said, you know, she's a guy, her name is Jonathan, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Are you feeling okay? Like, go get checked. And I'm not hanging out with you.
Which is kind of sad to some degree.
It isn't. See, there's the whole thing about women. This is the part. This is, you just proved my point. Yes, that. So what happens is that because the emotional part of women, they're so nurturing, they can't shut it off. But then you create monsters. Like you got to draw the line. If you don't draw the line, you've got kids now that the child, because he watches cartoons, he thinks he's a dog on Paw Patrol. You guys know the cartoon Paw Patrol?
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm a dog. And the mom's like, okay, sweetheart. And he starts behaving like a dog, and she thinks it's kind of cute. And she realizes if she gives him a hard talk, he cries and he gets sad. So she's okay, he's a dog, everyone. And she'll actually like give him a separate place to eat, and the whole family's got to fucking play along. And now you've got an issue. And now you want the school, and you want everybody else. No, you're crazy. You have a problem as a mother. You want me to believe your fucked up view your child's a dog now because you don't want to hurt his feelings? No, he needs therapy. Go take him in, let him talk to somebody. He isn't a dog. Like, that's the reality. Okay?
Facts, yes.
Yeah. it's a
But
fact. He may feel like he's a dog, but that's a problem because he's not supposed to feel that way. So let's figure out, like you had said, let's go down to the root of where that's all coming from. And most likely it's the parents because the parents fucked up. Any personality disorders that are out there, any sort of stuff that's related to anxiety or people who lack confidence, all of the issues that you have, most of them go back to your parents. They caused this shit in you because no parent is perfect. It all goes back to the parent,
I agree.
even though it's unintentionally. So if you are going to enable, if Cheyenne came in and said that she's a man now, and I'm like, all right, come on, come hang out with the boys, well, I'm enabling her automatically. But women are the ones who enable this behavior, which I understand it comes from a good place, like you were just saying, because you're loving and you have empathy. But what you're actually doing, number one, is when it comes to women's rights, you're stomping all over them. You're now letting this man, who biologically was a man, right? Women complain about, women's rights and equality. So now this man has become a woman, infiltrated the woman club, and now he's taking advantage of the woman club. He's getting all the privileges that a woman gets.
Yeah, like with the Olympics.
The Olympics.
Everything. I can walk today, I can go to the Eden Center or Oakville Place or Square One, and I can walk into a girl's bathroom, and nobody can stop me. Chris can walk in. No one can stop him. So what if, for example, that person is a child predator?
Well, that could be said about any gender.
No, I'm sorry. No, it cannot be. It's men. More males are child predators than females are.
Correct.
So if that child predator identifies himself as a female now, he can walk into a girl's bathroom. So there's this one, I'm going to discuss it in the next podcast, but I'm going to touch on it right now. There's this one doctor in the U.S. that the Congress had spoken to, they brought her in. Sorry, not doctor, a judge. Because she allowed this person who was a male, 6'2", 290 pounds. He had been charged and arrested on 4 cases of pedophilia, where he S8 young children. And he was marked out as being a dangerous person to society. When he was again caught doing the same criminal act, he said, I identify as a female when the judge was sentencing him. Yeah, this person over here. The fucking judge is a kook, this woman.
That's ridiculous.
She allowed this individual to now go into a female prison. And she felt that he is not a risk at all to the women in the prison. Are you fucking crazy? This guy's been charged 4 times for essaying children. And you think that he's okay now because he's identified as a female? Like, this whole woke fucking, where do you draw the line?
Well, hey, Kim, I was telling the girls earlier, I seen this thing on Instagram where recently in Canada there was a Chinese gentleman who was swarmed. I don't know if he was killed, but he was severely attacked by about 15 people, right? The first of the 15 were sentenced on Wednesday. They received 15 months probation. That's it. So someone in the comments had made the question, they were from the States. They said, this is what happens in Canada. Like, is this really what goes on? Like, what do you have to do to actually go to jail in Canada? And someone commented, call somebody by the wrong pronoun. And it's actually so accurate when you think about it, because if you misgenderize someone, you can lose your fucking children.
Yep.
Like that. Like, if your child says, I feel like I'm a girl, and you say, no, we're not doing that in this house, they go to the school, they tell the school that your child, there's a CIS report being called. You're not allowing your child to have their identity. It's crazy.
I literally had to do a course not 2 weeks ago, and I'm choosing not to have an opinion on this, but the course was on pronouns. I had to take an entire course, and they asked me if I would put a pronoun on my title. Now, crazy bitch was taken. But I was just going, I don't know, man.
That's hilarious. This is going to get worse, right? But the pendulum now is slowly swinging back, right? Because you've got women, there's certain rights that women have and they deserve to have them. Like, that's just a God-given right that a woman has, right? When it comes to, for example, maternity leave, right? If a woman's pregnant, she gives birth to a child, she should be allowed to have certain time off. You've got men who've transitioned over to women who say that they're entitled to that. You can't give birth to a fucking child. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Like, what are you talking about? And then you have the other thing about sports. So if you have a young girl who's been training her whole life to become like an Olympic runner or a swimmer, and then she finally makes it into the national team, and now she goes and competes on a national level, and there's some individual who has a fucking penis but now identifies as a female, he's allowed to enter and compete. The woman can't beat him because men just by their DNA, we have a larger lung capacity, so we can take in more oxygen, which is what feeds your muscles. Our muscle mass is different. I don't care how many estrogen pills you take. That's not going to change.
Testosterone. But yeah.
No, if you become a female, they take estrogen pills, right? So this swimmer, if he's saying he's a female, he's competing against biological females. He will beat all the women, or she, whatever pronoun they go with. It's unfair. And then now the same thing that you women were fighting for so long, those people are coming in through the back door now and taking all that away from you.
ADHD thought, could you not necessarily, could you have a baby and then be able to claim maternity leave, but then the second you have the baby start transitioning and then go back for it and be like, I want paternity leave? I identify as a man, but it's the same.
People do all that crazy shit right now. That is the problem,
That's
right?
wild.
Yeah.
So if we can put on that next video, which was after you leave it, this one over here. Let's play this.
After you actually lose a good man, let me tell you the aftermath. Before you choose to lose this good man, you will try to find a man equivalent to the man you're with. And you will think that you could find better. But when you actually put yourself out there, you'll realize that there is no man left right now. And every man will try to use you for a certain thing. And you will look for that man that you left in other men. You will regret that man to the core because you'll realize that there is no good people out there and nobody loved you as much as that man loved you. And after that, you will try to go back to that good man, only to realize that that good man doesn't want you. And he actually found a good girl. If you have someone good in your life, cherish them. Don't think you could replace them.
Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
You cannot play someone whose intentions were genuine from the jump. You cannot play someone whose heart was pure. You cannot play someone who literally wanted nothing but the best for you. You cannot play someone that saw more potential in you than you saw in yourself. Those are not the kind of people that you play because you think you played them, but you played yourself. Because I guarantee you, the second that you go trying to look for that person as someone else, you go out in the other dating world, you go back on Tinder swiping left and right, you are not going to find a soul like that again. Because those people are rare. They are unique. And all of us are. I'm not saying that we're not. But when you have someone that comes into your life, doesn't want you for your money, doesn't want you for the things you have, doesn't want you for the way you look, wants you for your soul, and you play them, nah. You played yourself. You played yourself so bad, so bad. And you know what? That's not even their loss. Because they're going to keep being a loyal person, they're going to keep being genuine, they're going to keep being loving, and all of that in their future relationships. You lost the person that would have been everything you have ever dreamed of. And now you will spend the rest of your life searching for that in other people. And you have the audacity to think that you played them.
That's really deep.
Big deep.
I find that nowadays when it comes to relationships, a lot of people, they actually meet someone like that when they're younger. And they kind of have this grass is greener on the other side mentality that they can do better. And then as they continue, as I was saying earlier, that the older, this is with women, and I'm not saying to talk down about women, but the older women get, and if they've got kids as well too, and so on, your value diminishes. Like, why would a guy who's going to be like in his 30s want to marry some girl who's 27, 28, who's already got 2 kids? And
It's
she's
not
divorced?
impossible.
Oh,
It's not impossible.
She's not going to get a high value guy. No way.
Depending what her story is, because maybe she could have lost her partner, he could have died.
I don't care what the story is.
You know.
It doesn't matter, the story. I'm talking about now this woman is back on the market with 2 kids.
Right.
So
It
no matter
makes it
how
harder.
sad her story may be, the matter is that now she's back on the market and the women that she's competing against don't have that baggage. So they don't have 2 children. So, when a man looks at that, he's going to see this woman's already got 2 kids. This woman doesn't have any kids.
But she might have other like great qualities, right? Like
She
if
can
she's-
have the best qualities. All I'm telling you is her value is not going to be the same of a girl who's in the same age bracket that has no children.
I have to say, I experienced myself something like that
Okay.
with a man, like the opposite direction. I was in my early 20s and I dated someone for a year in university and they disappeared. And then they came back knocking on my door saying, "Oh, I really do think I love you, but I got a girl pregnant. We're going to get married, just to give her my name."
Oh.
I'm thinking, I'm in my early 20s. I don't need your baggage. Like, he was a nice guy, and actually, he became a very successful person in the, if he was a high value man. He actually was a decent man, marrying her, because she was pregnant. But I just, remember thinking myself, I don't need to take you on.
Why would any guy want to be the person who cleans up this mess now and now be the father to these kids? They're not his kids.
Yeah, especially considering like even if it was, no offense, like something tragic, like an accident, the high value man's gonna be like, those kids gonna have problems. I don't need them punching holes through my doors.
Not only that, but why should he be the one to pick up?
No, of course.
And if he does, that's a huge responsibility. And most of the time, that's not appreciated. Stepdads are never appreciated.
Nor stepmoms necessarily.
Yeah.
Like I know when I was dating someone and this individual had children, that's sort of what did it for me because they were young kids. Well, my kids are grown up, out. I live, a very independent life, and I couldn't be with that individual because I don't want to stay home and watch your kids on weekends.
There you
I
go.
want to travel or do whatever.
So most often than not, the women get the kids, right? If there's a divorce. So she's the one who usually is the main caretaker. And now that woman is back in the market looking for a man. And a lot of women are delusional. They seem to have this mentality that I still have high value. No, your value has dropped because you've got kids. Nothing against the kids. That's just the way it is. It's human nature. Because now you want a man to come in to not only take care of you, but also to take care of your kids. And if you do find someone like that woman was saying about that's a great man. It's no longer a good man. A man who's going to take care of your kids, raise them as his own, and then you're going to have complaints about that man, you're fucked in the head. I'm sorry.
There are blended families nowadays, though, right?
Both of them have.
Both having kids.
Which I agree with, but we're talking about the scenario more often than not, is you'll see a lot of young girls who are like baby mamas. They've got kids.
And from different parents, like different
guys.
like baby, mommy, daddy stuff. I can't.
And then the girl wants that guy to pay for all three of the kids, and those three kids have three different dads.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Why do I have to do that? It's an expectation, right? So when it comes to appreciating the person that you have currently right now, a lot of us take them for granted.
Yeah.
Especially young women. Young women who are single, they think that the guy that they have is, oh, he's too controlling because he tells me what I should or shouldn't wear. Or should tell me I have to, he doesn't want me to go with my girlfriends to go to the clubs and the bars. Or doesn't want me posting. That's a good guy. If he doesn't care about what you're wearing, he doesn't care about where you're going, he doesn't care about what you're posting, he doesn't care about you. He doesn't care. If he genuinely...
But there's a gap in the maturity level, right? If somebody who's already gone through like a certain amount of years, right? Like if you take like a 35-year-old man and he goes for maybe a younger girl, right? Not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but if you're going to go for a girl 15 years younger than you, you got to understand there's a maturity gap. There's an emotional
100%.
gap there.
Yeah.
You're taking that risk. You're making that. You want someone who's younger, or for the appearance, or for, that more of the outer shell, versus looking for someone who's on the same wavelength as you.
But then again, if we're talking about someone who's got high value, he's going to seek a high value girl. And the high value girl, money has nothing to do with it. He doesn't care how much money she makes. High value to him is that she has traditional values and she'll appreciate him.
Right.
So girls who are raised right, raised properly, they will get married before they're 25. Or they'll be in a serious relationship and marry that guy that they're with before they're 25. So they might not get married for 25, but the guy that they're with, he's the one that they're going to marry. And those girls get taken up.
You know what?
The girls who continue down the line, who get into their 20s and 30s and so on, they've gone through now relationship after relationship. And they've been broken by this guy, by that guy, by this guy, and who knows how many one nights they have because they never tell you that those don't count. If you ask them what their body count, it's only the serious relationships. But the one nights that they've had, they never include them because they don't count.
For women, that's how it goes for real?
Well, yeah.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
I don't know how many women are going to clearly admit and say, yeah, I had 4 serious boyfriends, and I also had like 6 flings. I just met the guy and hooked up.
I know my number. I'm just
No,
saying.
you're older and you're mature, but most younger girls are not going to come out clearly and say their real number.
But
every woman lies about their number.
But then again, it also depends on their morals because a girl could be a bit older. She could be past 25, and she could have still been brought up with values, good values, and have those good values and still not be married. And then realistically, a lot of men aren't becoming successful or ready for marriage until they're like in their 30s.
But that guy in his 30s is going to marry that 25 woman.
But that's scary.
That's not scary.
I mean, I say it in the sense that it's always like the older guy looking for a younger woman. And a lot of the times it's before they're 25. And how do you say it? The frontal lobe of your brain doesn't end up developing until you're 25. So it's kind of scary, this narrative of this older men wanting younger women because they're higher value, when a lot of the times these girls are not mature. I'm not mature enough.
No, you're 18.
Yeah.
But a girl who's 23, 24 is mature
But
enough.
if these 23, 24, 25-year-olds, are these men are picking them because it doesn't matter they're 25, it matters because they're cooking, their
upbringing.
And here's the thing, their upbringing is declining because when my mom died, this was 10 years ago, my dad is a high value man, okay? 10 years ago, my dad still makes good money, okay? He's a high value man, what we discussed. He is one of those, all of those things. And when I came home and I met my stepmom for the first time, I always thought, I'm going to fight the woman that's sitting there because she's going to be 25 years younger than my dad. She's going to be my age. No, she was older than my dad. And you know what it came down to? And I'm not talking a few years older. She was significantly older. And when I realized after conversation, it clicks because my dad, he wanted a high value woman. He wanted a woman that he would come home and he did the same things my mom did. He didn't have to worry about his lunches being made. He didn't have to worry about his coffee or his tea. Those were the things that he found. And you know what? He only found that in an older woman who had that older traditional upbringing. And I'm like thinking back and I'm going, you know what? He couldn't find that dependability in a woman that was my age. You know, a woman my age would have put up a facade to get what he had, right? He made sure that who was coming in that house was going to take care of that fucking house if anything happened to him, and had the better interest out for his children if anything happened to him. And a lot of people fought him on it because she was an older woman, but when it comes down to it, dude, they've been together almost 11, 12 years. That woman has seen hell and has been through hell and back, and I wouldn't choose a different stepmom. I don't care if she's older, but when it clicks now. It's the traditional values. It's not even the age. He didn't care if she was 25 years younger or 25 years older. It's how she held her own inside that house. And I realized that's a good man. Thank you. Shout out to my dad for showing that to me.
My dad did the same. He married somebody when he and my mother split. He married someone 10 years older. But I knew within my father, because he had mommy issues. Sorry, Dad. But he did. And so with him marrying this woman, it was exactly that. He wanted that nurture, that nature, that care, that I'm your everything. You can stay home. He's that high value. She was awful to me, but...
Yeah.
With guys, when it comes to girls, right, keep in mind that it boils down to the house you come from. So if you come from a home that's a traditional home, there's some religious values, there's a belief in God, right? Whether you're a Christian or you're Jewish or you're Muslim, whatever. Those homes, if they're conservative, so you were actually raised in an environment where everybody had their role and their responsibilities. So a girl who comes from that kind of an upbringing and now she chooses to fight against it and she doesn't want to be that traditional woman, she's not going to find a good man. And over time, as she's going to get older and older, less men are going to be attracted to her based on wanting to be committed long term. They'll be okay with that girl just as a, like a booty call, we're hooking up with her, blah, blah, but no guy's going to put a ring on her finger. So the girls who are younger girls who are in their 20s and they're raised in a conservative household where there are traditional values, those girls get married in their early 20s to mid 20s. they're not on the market anymore by the time they're in their late 20s. They've already been snatched up. Some guy came along, proposed, got them, and they're happily married. They have a family now. The girls, there are some girls who have traditional values and they just not met the right guy and they make it into their 20s and 30s. Those girls are rare. And it might be because they don't know where to meet these right guys. They've got the wrong circle of friends. They don't really have a close-knit family, or they're not involved within their community as much as well too. So they're not meeting people that way, and they're meeting the wrong type of guys. But those girls are far and few. Most of the girls, what happens is they end up not wanting to settle down when they're in their 20s. Then they get run through by guys in their late 20s and 30s, and now they feel, I want a high-value man. You're not going to get that now. That's just not going to happen. You might end up getting, if you're in your 30s, a high-value man who is divorced with 3 kids. You might get that. But you're not going to get a straight-up guy who's just looking for a wife. He's got no baggage and so on. That's just not going to happen. So women, if you have a good guy and you keep thinking, oh no, the grass is greener, I'm going to be able to get somebody better, you're not going to. If this guy respects you, if he takes care of you, he respects your family, he's attentive to your needs, your emotional needs and so on, he also looks after you financially as well. And he's loyal. You'd be a fool to break up with this guy because you're not going to find that again.
But can we add in though, just for the age range that we're saying, that it's not necessarily about the physical wealth at that moment. It's also about your potential, the fact that you do have goals and you're working towards yours. So it's okay to meet a law student who's
Oh yeah, of course.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so you obviously have, again, being high value doesn't necessarily mean that you must start off by making over 100K.
Mhm.
He has ambition in him, right? So,
Absolutely.
so that's why I'm a strong advocate where if a girl and a guy meet in their 20s and they're both going through university, if they were to get married, of course they connect in other areas, they're going to support each other.
Yes.
And that girl is going to be there for him and he's going to become successful because that woman is there and they're going to be happy together 100%. In opposed to a girl having a mentality, well, I don't need a man. I can make my own money. I don't need a man to survive. And now when she's in her 20s and 30s, she's going to have meaningless relationships. Because no guy, any guy who's a real man, why would he want to be with a woman who doesn't value a man? Either he's a simp, right? He's a beta guy, or he's just using her for sex. Otherwise, why would any guy who is a confident male want to be with a woman who doesn't value men? To me, that's it. Like any girl who thinks that way is a turnoff. If a woman's masculine that way, I don't need a man. Okay, great then. I don't want to be with you. I don't care how beautiful you may be. It's an automatic turn off for men.
Well, because the beauty fades. I mean, the reality is it's the inner beauty.
But see, for men, men don't want to be challenged by their woman on a masculine level.
Oh, I hear
They
you.
do that with other men. I don't want to be with a woman who's going to challenge me in every area. Fuck that. I make that headache. I have enough crap to deal with the real world. Now I'm going to come home with someone who's going to bitch at me and challenge me on every single thing. I'd rather be single. I don't need that shit. So, and keep in mind, now what's happening, there is a bit of a swing back as well, where there are women who are realizing that traditional values are way more important than how many followers you have on Instagram. And they are the ones who are snatching up all the good men.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a good guy, or even with a guy, if you have a good girl and she takes care of you and she's there for you and she's turned your house into a home. So when you come home, it might be your own condo or your own apartment because she's over enough. It smells nice. It's actually clean. There's always something cooked, or if there's food in the fridge, the towels are clean, the bed sheets get changed. If all that shit's happening, you'd be an idiot to break up with this girl and think you can get somebody better. This woman's already invested herself into you. She's already committed, she's already fallen in love with you, and you're dumbass, because guys are not perfect, okay? Like guys, they've got some good qualities, but overall, most men are boring. Men are boring by nature. Chris, do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Most men.
That was a quiet, yeah.
What I mean by boring meaning is that men are very simple.
Predictable.
They like the same shit every day, and they're okay with it. Like they're okay wearing. If men could, they'd wear the same track pants every day, all year long.
Cheers to track pants season.
They'd have no issue with that, right? I forgot which. I think it was Bill Burr. He said if it was up to men and women are okay with it, they would be living in a cardboard box. But women are not okay with that. That's why men don't do it. So men are very simple by nature, right? But what happens is that because you've got all these women that are putting themselves in the market with all this flash, with their boobs hanging out and the makeup's being done, looking all sexy, this guy's thinking, oh, I can get something better. Because he might be with a traditional woman. He thinks this girl's hot and sexy. She's going to be wild. Yeah, she's going to fuck your life up.
Literally.
This woman is a rock, right? She's your comfort. She's your security. But no, that bling is kind of, taking your eye off the prize, and you're looking at that thinking it's going to be better to go that way. So some women get affected by that. So as you were saying, a woman could be in her 30s and she's still not married. She may have committed herself to a guy, but that guy was a fucking idiot and he ruined it. And because of that, now she's single again, but she put in like 3 years of her life with this guy. And now she's in her late 20s. And now less men are drawn to her because she's older. But it wasn't because of her. It's because of that jackass that she was with. So it goes both ways. But majority of the women today, a woman is the one who makes a home. It's not a man. But a lot of women today don't want that responsibility. But they want everything else that comes with it. They don't want to be willing to put the effort in to make the house into a home. They want the security. They want all of that. They want the comfort from the man. But I'm not willing to put any effort in.
Well, you're also dealing with women that are using filters, like they're real.
Oh my God.
How many pictures, and I guess all of us, I'm sure at this table, and yourself included, can look at a picture and say, really? A, that's not possible, and clearly you don't look like that. And it's heartbreaking because you're starting relationships up on lies at the gate, even before you go anywhere. You're pretending to be something you're not.
You have apps that will change like a woman's midriff. So she'll be wearing a bikini and she can change her waist and her stomach completely.
Like, how unreal are we setting poor children, women, children,
Yeah, like
females
false
growing up?
expectations.
It's horrible. And that's where the insecurities come, and that's where they will lay with anybody that says they're pretty because they don't have the self-worth that you
What do you want
need.
to say, Val?
I wanted to say that I feel that as a whole society, we've become very superficial. And with that, this beauty standards are insane.
Yeah.
And like, I feel that a lot of the times, me being a woman, I feel that men a lot of the times expect me to look a certain way or to do stuff like if like I look like this or like why aren't you like getting Botox or something?
Which man says that?
Yeah.
I never heard of any guy saying
Online, like they expect me to become this like to reach the standard that we've set up.
that.
As
Do you not think that it's women who set that standard?
Yes,
I think it's both of us.
It is not
because
men.
we have standards for both men and women.
But you're
And we
still-
women, we expect men to look a certain way, and then men expect women
If
to
a
look
man is asking you to get Botox, he's not a high value man.
No, man. Any guy saying that just blabbing. Listen, let me ask you something. If you guys all know what strip clubs are, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
If all the strip clubs were to shut down in Canada, what are men going to do?
Hang out at the next bar.
Or go home to their wife?
Yeah.
They can't do anything. Can they do anything? Can they force women to strip? No.
Oh no.
We don't live in the 1800s. Who's stripping? And why are they stripping? Women are stripping because they want to strip. But they blame it on men. That's bullshit. You're taking your clothes off for money because you want to. OnlyFans, right now, you think women are guns being put to their head?
No.
Women do it
But they
themselves.
use the argument, it's the money, and I'm doing it to support my blah blah blah.
Whatever it may be, you're not being forced. You can get a proper job. All you women have proper jobs.
Yeah.
It's a choice. Women are the ones who put that pressure on other women, not men. If women who are in porn stop doing porn, what are men going to do? Aside from watching old clips, what else are they going to do? Nothing. They're going to go home to their wife or their girlfriend or jack off, whatever the hell they do. They can't force women. Women are doing this. No one is forcing the women to do it.
But
women do it.
play the sex card. It's
No, I know, but what I'm trying to say is I get it. Sure, maybe 200 years ago, women didn't have rights and so on, right? And men didn't respect them. But now, with the way the things are, women find it liberating to do this kind of stuff. So remember when I was talking to you guys earlier about percentages that you've got high value men, you've got over 80% of the women who are after these high value men, okay? Now, let's look at the rest of the men that are not a part of that high value category. I'm talking about the guy who works at Home Depot, I'm talking about the guy who's a manager at McDonald's. I'm talking about the guy who's the security guard at a Square One shopping mall. He's not a high value man. He might make $30,000-$40,000 a year. Most women will never even consider that guy. Even women who are on the same level as him, they're always punching up.
I'm gonna disagree with you
Yes.
because let's
Go ahead.
say 30K nowadays is low income. That's considered low income.
40K.
But let's go even higher than that. Let's say like 60, 70K is like a decent income if not like average income now.
That is not the average income right now.
Okay, what
I'm
is the
sorry.
average? What is the
Please,
average?
can you Google that first? Can you look the average income in Canada?
Okay, so let's say whatever the average income in Canada is, okay? If a man is making that, means he's a good worker. He's a hard worker. He has good work ethics.
What's the number there?
68.
68,000.
Okay,
60.
cool.
Okay, so I was close.
That's the average income in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Was that the household income or individual? Please look up individual average income, annual income in Canada.
I think it's less than 60.
It's way less than 60. That's
Yeah.
joint.
That is
Okay, that's household. Okay, so
No way it'd be 70K.
okay, so for example,
42.
okay, 42 is the
Yeah.
average. Okay, individual income. So if a man has good work ethics, okay, he might not be making as much as a guy, okay, who has like a CEO kind of job or has
Sure.
a business. He's not making that kind of money, but he could have a really great character. He could be
Mhm.
very loving. He could have the characteristics of a father.
Of course he
could be a
can. Not
great
he could. They all do.
So, well, we can't say.
Most of them do.
It depends, right? It depends. The same issues that women like men say, okay, I can't find like a traditional woman, goes for men. Sometimes men are not traditional. They don't have
Yeah.
morality,
Sure, I agree.
right? So, but a man who doesn't make that much money, even if he makes less, but if he has morality and good characteristics, I would still consider him a high value man. That's the point.
That is such a small percentage of women. I'm letting you know that most of these men are single. The men who make $40,000 a year, they're very, very single. And most women would not want to date them. They just don't. Most women are brainwashed by social media that guy better make. I've watched so many videos, women talk about, oh, if you're dating a guy, how much should he make? Minimum 500 grand. It's like, are you fucking crazy?
Yeah, just like
Like the percentage of men who make that are next to none.
Yeah.
And you feel that you're a broke ass with a bus token in your pocket should be dating a guy who makes that kind of money? Give me a break. Like, fuck, you're not even wearing clean underwear.
Go.
And you want some guy who makes 500 grand? Like, fuck off. So,
Harsh.
both of these guys that we're talking about who make the 40 grand, who are like in that category of, let's say, 60% or 70% of the men, those are the men that fund OnlyFans. Those are the men that watch all the porn.
That's a morality issue.
No, it's not. It's not morality. It's a matter they're not getting any action. Most of these men barely get laid once a year. Once a year. A guy who works at Tim Hortons, good luck. If he's 18, 19, he might have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
But if he's in his 30s and he's a manager at Tim Hortons, he doesn't have a lineup of girls. He's a good guy. He wants to settle down. A girl's not going to go down and marry you. You make 40 grand a year.
Well,
Because-
that's the emotional
I
part
guess
comes out.
that's-
Where,
oh sorry.
no, go ahead, please.
Oh, I was gonna just like the man that's high value that wouldn't date a woman that's 30 with 2 kids. Like it's the same thing.
But the difference here is that it's not the economic. Women want a guy who makes a lot of money. That's how what men are judged. How tall is he? How much money does he make? What kind of shape is he in? Those things matter to women. But the minute a man says, I want a girl who doesn't have a high body count, right? Has a nice body, it's got to be slim. Oh, you're misogynistic. Oh, you're a fucking pig. That's double standards, man.
No, but it's a
But it's
reality.
true.
But it's not double
A lot of
standards.
The men do care a lot about.
But the same way a lot of women care about how much money a guy makes.
Yeah, that's my point.
But then you cannot say that he's being misogynistic. Misogynistic is someone who hates women. If he has standards and he wants an attractive woman who takes care of her health and is pretty, why is that considered that he's a woman hater?
Well,
But a woman won't date a guy who's 5'2". He's got to be, and that's not considered being a man hater.
no, but she's called a gold digger.
No, if it's just going to be height wise, right? And look wise, that a woman can be selective that way. Okay, Chris, can you look up what is? There's a term that's called when women punch up in relationships. What's that term called?
Where they date up?
Post punch up.
Yeah, date up in relationships.
Oh.
So like you want a guy who's going to be taller than you. That's you wanting someone better than you in height, right?
Oh.
So there's a term for it, and women, majority of women, will always want the man to be better than they are in certain areas.
I'm going to admit freely now, when I was online dating, which was a while ago, but when I started with the ideal, well, I'm 5'9". Clearly I can't be with someone that's 5'7" because like in my heels, I'm 6 foot and that just looks weird. And that was my mindset. And I was dating people and they were very attractive people and different things. And at the end of the day, I'm thinking, you're vapid. What are you? I couldn't find that thing. So I went back to the table and said, okay, I'm losing my height limit now. We got to lose the height limit. I'm even going to lose the income part because I just want to meet a human. I don't care about the noise, just a human. And ironically, within that, I did date the billionaires that wanted a trophy. That wasn't for me. But I ended up reconnecting with someone, and I guess long story short, it's wasn't about the income. I know there's potential for income, like we talked about, but it's more the same values, the same core, rage, the same cultural, everything, the same belief, all of it, and that makes such a huge difference.
The men that you were talking about who are 6 feet tall or above and making all that money, the reason that they're like that is because all the women are chasing them.
Yeah, and I found it. Because I came from...
So again, why would... Sorry, Chris, find it?
I was going to say the term is hypergamy.
That's it, hypergamy. That's the term. So hypergamy, by definition, women will punch up when they're dating.
It's from the Greek word, ugami. Yeah.
A woman is not going to date a man that's less than her. Weaker than her, shorter than her, heavier, like out of shape more than her, blah, blah, blah.
That goes to the masculine and feminine quality.
No, it's not. Not when it comes to making money. What does that do with masculine or feminine?
Well, for example,
this has to do with in your DNA. That's a part of your hardcore thing where you want, which is a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. A woman should be with a man that's better than her, stronger than her, makes more money than her. Of course, then you're going to value him more. That's a given. But the woman wants that, but then in return, she's not willing to, first of all, acknowledge it. Secondly, she's not willing to also give what she should be given to get that kind of a man. That same man, if you want a man that's better than you, in regards to he's taller than you, he's stronger than you, makes more money than you, and so on and so forth, for you to get that man, you should be willing to give what a woman with that kind of a thinking, what quality she should already possess. Like you were saying, that's how women are, right?
Right.
They're hardwired that way. But then that same thinking goes parallel with having traditional values.
Right.
But those are traditional values.
Right.
Women are drawn to stronger men. It's in your DNA.
Right.
But along with that, if you have that attraction, what you offer should be traditional values. You cannot want this strong, amazing man, but then go, fuck it, I'm not giving him any of the stuff that goes along with it.
Well, you got to match the dynamic.
What are you going to say?
Oh yeah, I think that we all have standards and we all have like taste, like in what we look for in a person. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh no, I don't care about I feel we all care about the physical appearance. Like that's step one. In order for you to approach someone, you need to find them attractive. If you don't find them attractive, you're not gonna approach them romantically because that's what sexual attraction is, right?
Not necessarily with women. If a man knows how to talk to a girl.
No, because that's step two. That's when you see the man and you're like, okay, I'm willing to stay here.
I disagree with you. And I'll tell you why. There's so many beautiful women that are married to super rich men who are fucking butt ugly. Like butt ugly. Okay? Look at this Ambani family, the billionaire family in India. Chris, can you put up the picture? It's Ambani's son getting married.
That's like the super rich wedding that the Kardashians went to?
Yeah.
Oh.
The Kardashians are like the peasants there compared to these people. 600 million they spend the wedding. They're fucking savages. I mean, they have a house in the slums. How could you spend so much money looking down on poor
That's
people?
a gross house.
Right.
Okay? Look at this guy.
Jeez. Yeah.
He's got to be like 300-400 pounds. You think she's in love with him? Give me a break.
I think it's arranged.
I mean,
He's one of the richest men in the world. He didn't get her because of his hot Humpty Dumpty body. He got her because he's super loaded. So women will marry men even if they're not attractive if they've got the money.
He went, I want that one.
Yeah,
That's literally
that's all
what
he did.
That's what he did.
They had a lineup and he picked the girl and they proposed to her and it was done. She didn't say no.
I think they were family friends actually.
See?
Whatever it was, either way, he could have gotten anybody that he wanted.
Right.
You guys seen, you know the story of Cinderella, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you remember the beginning when the king is talking to his right-hand man? It's time for the prince to get married. And the guy's like, oh my God, your highness, it's going to be so hard for us. And he goes, oh, give me a break. It's all just a matter of a girl and a guy meeting in the right setting. That was it. So he invited all the pretty girls in the kingdom to come down. And he got to dance with each one of them. And the girl that he liked, she said yes. Because he's a fucking prince.
Mm-hmm.
He could have been like ugly as shit. He's a prince. Who's going to say no to a prince? So women, I understand what you're saying, but it's for a woman, a physical attraction is not always the number one thing.
I wouldn't generalize. Like I won't deny that there's women that marry for the money. I won't say no because there's cases like I don't know.
It's not just the money.
But
Val, it's not just the money. It's the way the guy talks.
no, because like I feel
You're only 18 right now.
No, but
I was
they-
waiting for that.
For example, my parents' relationship. They've
Yeah.
been together since they were like 20. They met in college. My dad was not in college. Actually, he got in college because my mom was like, you need to do something with your life. Like, let's be serious. And they've been together all this whole time. They're like best friends.
Okay.
They're what I look up to. Like, I want a relationship like that.
Okay.
And what I've learned from that is that it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how you look. It matters if you two match what you want in your life.
What I'm saying to you is for men, looks matter more. For men, looks matter more than it does for women. Men fall in love with what they see.
That's true.
That's it. The surface stuff. A man is not going to approach a woman unless he finds her attractive. You want me to tell you the proof of that? What are some of the most richest companies in the world? Makeup companies. How did Rihanna and
Kylie Jenner?
Selena Gomez and is it Kylie Jenner? How did they become billionaires?
Makeup.
Their makeup line, not from their singing and whatever they do. Selena Gomez is a billionaire from her makeup line. I deal with these makeup companies. You know how much money these makeup companies make? Why? Because women wear makeup. Why did women wear makeup? To attract men. That's it. I don't care if women say, oh, I do it just for my... Okay, great, you might do it for yourself as well. But if you're single and you're going out, you're not just going in the shower and just leaving your house.
And
You're painting yourself. You're doing that because now you can become more attractive. It's done to attract the opposite sex. A woman, for example, looks do matter for her, but not as much as it does for a man. What matters more to a woman is how is he going to take care of me? Is he going to meet my emotional needs? Is he mature enough?
But I mean, yeah, that's true. But then looks do matter. Because if you go to a club and you see a man that's sweating and that's like in his PJs and has like he looks dirty, and then you see a man in a suit that smells like cologne.
I'm not
looks
disagreeing with
great.
you, which is fine. We're going to two extremes here. It's like talking about a homeless man to some guy who shops at Harry Rosen. I'm just telling you in general, with a woman, why do you think it's so important for men to know pickup lines?
Oh, I hate pickup lines, but yeah.
Why? Because
To
men
flatter
are always
women,
thinking about how can I approach her? What can I say to her that's going to make her want to talk to me?
Yeah.
How can I get her attention? Because women fall in love with what they hear.
True.
If the guy says the right words to a girl, he's going to score that girl. That's just the way it
Actually,
is.
no, yeah, that's true.
100. Well,
Not always.
But
Not
yes.
always.
Listen, why are songs so popular?
yeah.
Why are romantic
It's the
songs
same
so
message.
popular?
Because that's like a serenade. It's
Yeah.
serenading you.
He's courting you.
Yeah.
So if a guy like tells a girl, I dedicate this song to you, oh my God, she's gonna melt and tell her friends, you know that song, it's our song. The guy couldn't give a fuck about the song, but he knows that you give a shit about it, so he's gonna say that to you.
Right, but if you have, let's say, 10 guys saying all along the same things to the
That's
same
never gonna
woman,
happen. First of all, go ahead.
well, they could be even 10 different pickup lines, but they're all like trying to, get her attention. So if you have a girl who gets a lot of attention from guys, that initial type of spiel is not really going to work.
100% it will.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. That video that we just watched about who's the prize.
Mhm.
Remember that girl?
Mhm.
She said, I'm the prize.
Mhm.
And he said, why would I be attracted to a masculine woman?
Mhm.
And he goes, you're the prize to the guys that want you.
Right.
But the guy that you want He's the prize now.
Right.
Now, did you see how she looked at him after?
Right.
Because the way that he spoke to her.
Right.
So the woman could be super confident, have 10 guys wooing her, trying to win her over. But the one guy who says the right thing at the right time, her panties are coming off. That's it. He's got her.
I'm going to agree with you mostly. I do agree with you though, because it does come down to that. That when you do hear it, I was a former bartender, so I got every night somebody new wanted to pick me up. Now, fortunately, I knew that it was because I had 2 legs and a crotch. Had nothing more to do with anything else. It was never about this. It was just about convenience, accessibility. So I heard every line, but I can also say, Kim, I do know what you're saying.
You're talking about lines about guys just picking up a girl to sleep with her. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about if a guy is looking to be in a meaningful relationship with a girl, he has to know how to speak and he has to know what to say to her.
100, I agree.
Right? If he doesn't, he's going to lose the girl.
Yes.
Automatically, he'll lose her. If he's not sentimental to her, if he doesn't do the birthday shit and the this shit and I sit down there and watch these chick flicks and all, if he doesn't do that, the girl's going to lose interest in him. Right? He has to, if she's into ballet, fuck, okay, we'll go to a ballet. He'll buy her that for her birthday ballet, even though he hates it. He can't, but he knows that's going to get him points. That's why he's going to do it. So again, when it comes to women, there's a certain love language. Men think if I just go to the gym and I work out, blah, 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 you're only going to attract certain kind of girls for that.
That's true.
Right? Those girls are just want you because you're like an accessory for them. Oh, my guy's hot. But if a guy wants to get a girl who's got values and morals, he's going to have to know how to talk to her, how to treat her. And he's going to have to cater to her. And that's going to win that girl over. So the looks at that time aren't going to be the number one thing. For men, looks are the number one thing. Because that's the only reason why he's even willing to approach you. If he sees a girl, she's the sweetest girl, and she's 300 pounds overweight, he's not attracted to her, he's never going to talk to her.
You're right.
Never. Never. But an average girl, if there's a guy who's overweight and he's super sweet and he's a gentleman, he's really, really polite, she will give him a chance. She will.
You're right. No, we do need
that. A woman needs comfort from her man, right? So it's going to be based on what he says to her. That's very, very important. A man needs peace from a woman. So it's going to be at how she takes care of him. It's 2 different dynamics. I'm not saying that attraction is not important. I'm just saying for men, attraction is way more important. That's why you women go through such an effort that you do to be attractive. If it was so important for women about attraction, how many men wear makeup? There's makeup for men. You guys know that, right? Yeah. How many men do you know that wear makeup every day?
Or get hair extensions. Not extensions.
How many men do you know who do all the stuff that women do? Go get their eyebrows done and shit. Get their nails done. Get skin treatments. No, most men don't do that. Even men of high value, fuck it. They look after themselves the best that they can, that's that. But how many of these, what do you call them? Metrosexual men are out there? Not a lot. But pretty much every woman wears makeup. Every woman's got makeup on. Especially if they go out at night. Some guys will just go with a baseball cap on, not give a shit.
But girls still have their points of attraction too. Like for example, like I would prefer someone who's taller than me, right? So girls do have things that they are attracted to.
And why are they attracted to that? Because a taller man, a stronger man is going to be a better protector.
That's
in
part
your
of
DNA.
it. Yeah, that's definitely part of it.
100%. The same way a man wants a woman who has traditional qualities because she's going to be the gatherer, the nurturer, right? It's also to do with procreating. So yeah, there are certain things that women do look. I'm not saying that the attraction is not important. It is. It's just not as important as it is for men. A man is not going to approach a woman if he doesn't find her attractive. That's it. If a guy's being set up with a friend or whatever, or a sister, the first he's going to ask him, what does she look like?
Well, you can even trade it right back to Darwin and animals, you know, which has the prettier spots, which has this, which has that. It's the same thing. It's that attraction, what that attraction is, and that generally is the physical or, the endorphins or whatever.
If the guy says the right thing to a girl and he sweet talks her, he will get her.
I mean, it depends.
On what?
It depends, like, if for example, that guy sweet talks that girl, but that girl maybe has other options, or she's not...
So if a guy takes a girl out He's super polite, opens the door for her. He's courteous. He has manners when they're sitting down. He pulls the chair out for her, the whole deal. He's very polite when he's talking to her. He lets her decide what she wants to order. He stays quiet. He asks her certain questions so she can talk more about herself and all that. And he's catering to her. He's gonna win that girl over.
Yeah. There still could be points of where they're not completely aligned or they're not completely compatible.
Which of course that can happen, but I'm saying the biggest problem that men have when it comes to courting a woman is that women have confused men to death now. Men are afraid now that if I go on a date, should I pay for the meal? If I do, will she get offended and feel like that she needs you to take care of her? If I ask her to pay half, will she consider me to be a cheapskate and now go back out with me again? So they don't know what the fuck to do. So it's like, women, make up your mind. You want him to pay, you don't want him to pay. My rule is a man should pay because he's a man. I don't care what the woman wants. You do what you need to do to be a man. You pay for the meal, you hold the door open. If that woman's like, don't hold the door open for me, I don't need you, I'm a woman, then fuck off. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, I'll be right back, go grab a seat, and I'm gone. I'm not gonna stick around. You have a problem me holding the door open for you? You find offense in that? So men are confused now. They're actually afraid. They're also afraid of being accused of something, even though their intentions were genuine. They're worried now that the girl, if they go out on a date and let's say he doesn't call her the next day or in 2 days, she might now start attacking him online. I say I dated this guy, he's an asshole just because he didn't call in 2 days. So women have confused men. There's certain qualities that men have and there's certain qualities that women have. And both parties have to learn to appreciate them instead of saying, I don't need them. That's why we are where we're at. If women were raised with traditional values, more so, and if men were also raised in a proper way to appreciate all of that, we'd have less problems when it comes to depression, single moms getting pregnant at a young age, divorces and all that kind of stuff. I feel that it's not being taught anymore. It's that whatever you feel, it's okay.
And pregnancy is becoming a paycheck.
100%. The government,
the
government pays you now to be divorced.
Yes.
It's profitable to break the man.
Well, you know what? This is
credit. My granddaughter. She calls that her wage. That's her monthly. That's
what she makes.
Well, that's where I find when I was in high school, the girls that had children in high school and then went to college, they didn't have to pay back 100% of their OSAP loan because they had a dependent. So what are you teaching the child that busted their ass? I graduated early. I graduated 2 years early. I was in college. People were starting grade 11. And then the girl beside me who decided to have 2 kids in college or in high school, she's getting 10% back on her OSAP loan. That's the way that people like me view it. It's, I didn't have a child in high school. I still busted my ass. I still did that. And I didn't even get a chance at a scholarship. But if I had a baby, I would have got a 10% rebate on my college.
And we had none of that. Like when I was growing up, you had a child, figure it out.
Yeah, that's kind of where I find hard to view as somebody that's busted. Like it's the same when you go to high school and it's the kids that were doing bad, no offense, that were getting principal awards to encourage them. They did one good deed, but meanwhile,
someone who did good deeds all the time
that showed up every single day, but because they're good, they want to recognize the bad one.
I got a award in high school for most improved.
Yay, though!
Wow. What an accomplishment. Most improved. Wow.
But that's showing change. I'll give most improved. It's the you showed up every day to class. Well, that was part of the contract, or you didn't.
I don't think that most improved is like, what does that mean? Most is
like, are you serious?
Yeah. Like coming to class is a given. So same thing, I'm telling you, like when it comes to this thing about sports, whatever, just because you showed up doesn't mean you should be rewarded.
I agree.
Like because you showed up to work, well, the people should be applauding. Yay! Every day, every week you get a cake, and no, you show up to work getting paid. It's a part of life.
Yeah.
But society today is rewarding people just for doing the bare necessities. Like I see videos of girls who are like, I took my man out for lunch. I'm paying for the lunch. Yeah, okay. He pays for it all the fucking time.
Yeah.
You did it once on his birthday, so you want to make a video of it? Like, does he make a video 3 times a day saying, I paid for her meal, I'm paying for rent or the mortgage?
She has a bed because I pay
Yeah.
for it.
But no, because the one time that the girl took him out for dinner, she has to make an Instagram video about it and show the bill. Look, I paid for it. What an accomplishment. Like, it's not an accomplishment.
I've seen the best Instagram video with this girl that she does that. She leaves her restaurant. There's a homeless man outside. She's got like a jar of like avocado or like, what do you call it?
Avocado?
Avocados. And he's like, hey, miss, do you have anything? And she's like, well, I have my avocados. And he's like, well, I'll take them, right? So she starts walking away. She's filming and she's describing the story. And you hear some woman in the background and she goes, filming your deed doesn't make it good. And she turns around and she goes, I wasn't filming the good deed. I was filming to say that I regret giving the homeless man my avocados and I'm not a good person. But she was so genuine. She was saying, like, she's like, I agree with you, miss. People that do that are wrong. I'm not making a video about me doing a good deed. I'm making a video about me regretting it.
I just lost my avocados.
Yeah. And I thought that was so genuine, but it's true, right?
So, anybody else have anything else to add in? Val? Anything else you want to add in about like relationships? I think both of you do.
I would say, so going back to, because what you were saying about how attractiveness is more important for the man. And I completely understand that point. And it's something that is, it's kind of obvious, right? It is something that's kind of obvious. But for example, like I could speak for myself. I'm someone who likes to go to the gym. I like to play sports. I'm really good at soccer. I'm really good at basketball. I'm athletic. So if I were to meet a man and he approaches me in that way that you're saying, he's very nice and courteous and a hard worker, but let's say he's severely overweight, doesn't go to the gym, not willing to go to the gym, not willing to make that lifestyle change, like looking at a future with that person, that's just one character.
Red flag, which I agree.
Like character trait out of many, that would be something that would lower my attraction to that person.
I totally agree. I do agree with you. But however, maybe not you, but women in general, if that part was replaced with him driving a Ferrari and living in a $3 million home and having a property in Bahamas, I think they're a little bit overweight stuff, not want to go to the gym with some women.
It wouldn't be 100% genuine though. It
still would be because he's a good guy.
Right.
So she'll accept the fact that in this one area he kind of lacks, but because he's able to provide such a beautiful life, okay, it ain't that big of a deal, right? So you got to realize that everyone has their own deal makers and deal breakers. And as you get older, the longer that you hold out, the worse it's going to get. Why? Because all of your deal breakers that you're talking about, the pool that's available for you is going to get smaller and smaller. And most of the men left in there will have qualities that are deal breakers for you. So the longer you wait out. So if you do meet the good guy earlier on and he does check off 60%, 70% of what you're looking for,
right?
Don't give up on that. Because the other 20, 30%, you'll be able to create that in him.
Well, 60-70% is pretty good.
So 60%, the other 40% could be he's not in good shape. But you can change that in him. You can't change his height. If he has one eye, he's got one eye.
Yeah.
If he's got a wooden leg, if he's overweight, if he's 20, 30 pounds overweight, he's an amazing guy. And you love everything about you have the same religious beliefs, and the same values, blah, blah, and he's successful. You're like, okay, fuck it. The overweight part, no biggie. I'm the one who's going to be cooking for him now. I'm going to take care of him. That guy will eat better for you.
Right.
He's not like, I don't give a shit, bitch. You're going to make me this food. I want this food. No, he's like, okay, you want me to eat healthy? Okay, I'll eat healthy. But I'm not going to go buy this stuff. You go to the grocery store. You go and get it from you. He's going to eat it. And next thing you know, now he's healthy. You want to go for a walk every day? Right. He will. Why will he do that? Because he wants his woman to be happy.
Well, people can grow together in relationships. They can make each other better. There has to be that feeling.
But a woman is always the one who's looking to change the man. Not the other way around. Women always look at a guy as a project. Okay, that he's got this. I can work with this. I'm going to be able to change that, but this I can't do. Women are like that. And it's a project for women. When they marry a man, it's an ongoing, Olga, am I correct?
It's like a Pinterest board.
Yeah.
It's like a Pinterest board.
So, you're like, I don't like his brother, he's toxic, and his best friend's an asshole. He's a womanizer, I can tell. But these other parts are okay. I can slowly change these areas. So if it's something that can be changed, something like being overweight or he's missing a tooth, you can go get teeth. You can go to a dentist and get that fixed, right? Even if he's bald, that can be fixed. But
That's a tough one.
no, you can go get a hair transplant.
But or it doesn't matter if you're bald or not. Like you might be into it. You know.
Or eventually you will. But I'm saying these are things that can change. And if he has all of the other great qualities, that woman is foolish to leave that guy, right? Being overweight, tons of people are overweight. They lose the weight. If he's in a happy relationship, he's going to lose the weight for you.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So the 60% we're talking about is him having the right morals and values, him valuing you the way you want to be valued, him understanding your love language, right? The way you want to be loved. If he's on cue with that, like, what else do you want? Right? He respects your family. You guys have a similar background, similar religious beliefs, similar idea on how to raise children, the same level of ambition and motivation and drive and whatever. And if he finds you drop dead gorgeous and he's devoted to you, holy shit, why would you give that up and think you're gonna get something? But you know what? I like all of this. Remember that video we had about the husband store?
Yes, I love it. I love it.
I do.
So the husband store basically was women went in. You get a husband here. The first floor said that he's going to earn money, right, and he's going to be loyal to you. And if you don't like that, you go to the next floor. I'm going to go to the next floor.
I like the first floor.
The next floor was he's going to earn money. He's going to be loyal to you, and he's super successful. Okay. Well, no, I'm going to go to the next floor. Next floor was he's going to earn money. He's loyal to you. He's super successful, and he's great with kids.
Oh, so
Well, no. I'm going to go to the next floor. Next floor, he earns money. He's super loyal to you. He's very successful. He's great with kids. He's good looking and handsome as well, too. No, I'm going to go to the next floor.
okay, when is that going to go?
So when you go to the next floor, it's basically going to have, now you have nothing. And the point of this was that women will continue thinking that it's going to get better and better and better. You said yes on the last floor, right? But again, you could have said yes earlier. Him being handsome and gorgeous, whatever. You could have went just one level before. Because as you go higher, there's less and less men available, and eventually there's nothing. Because women are delusional. So if you have a good guy and he's got that 60%, the other 40%, you can bring that into the relationship. Because a woman has that power. A woman will make a man change into becoming a better man. And every woman wants to do that to their man. It's a lifelong project of wanting to change him.
Well, because you're better together too. It's a way for you both to continue that. It gives us.
No, but men are not changing women. What you get is what you get.
Well, I would want like a man that's wise or that could teach me things or that could help me grow. Like
Which is
for
great.
example, like on a spiritual level, like that's something that I look for.
So that's a traditional value, which is very good. But I'm saying in general, most men don't get married and they have the mentality that, okay, I got to change her in all these areas.
Yes, true.
So if he's with a hoe, she's a hoe. He's not going to marry her because she's beautiful. He thinks he can change that about her. He's not going to even marry her. If he's with a girl's like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to have my Instagram page and I'm going to have guy friends even after I'm married. He's not going to be like, oh, I'll still marry her and I'm going to try to. No. But a guy could be lazy, but that's all that a woman will be, okay, I'm going to change that laziness in him. And he will change. Not all men. But if a man loves you enough and he's devoted, he will improve in those areas. That's the only thing I'm just trying to say. So hopefully people are going to learn from this. Did you want to add anything, Al?
I feel like we would have gone way back in the conversation, so it's fine.
No, you can if you want.
I mean, I was gonna say about the thing that we women, we really give it to like words and how they talk to us and stuff. I was gonna say that that's very true, because I was thinking about myself. It might not be a dead end relationship, like I want to marry this man and just, but I've really, like, I feel that everyone that reads books have fallen in love with characters, and that's just words.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's true that a lot of the times for us is not how much how they look, but how they treat us. That's
women romanticize, or they like to be with heroes.
And I was gonna say that is because since we're very young, we are taught to be into romance, into princes and heroes, and the one that fights the dragon, stuff like that. So then we dream, oh, I want a man like that in real life.
But that's not even just how it's true you're taught that, but it's a part of your DNA. Because women want someone who's going to provide for them, who's going to be a hunter, a provider, and a protector. because you want a man who's going to protect you and your children. That's just a part of your DNA,
Yeah.
right? So because of that, if a man is able to play that role, he's going to get the woman.
Yeah. But
That's why a lot of women get duped by guys.
what is it?
Meaning that they'll meet a guy, and he'll say the right thing and whatever, and the woman will give up the booty after a couple of dates, and then he disappears. And then the woman's like, now she becomes pissed, and she's jaded, she's upset.
And she becomes a victim of her own mind. Now, I think if more women would learn to love themselves first, would learn self-love, I think actually as humans, all of us need to love ourselves, because our perception is our reality. So how you see yourself is essentially how you're going to present yourself. But if they had that, it would be so much easier, and you wouldn't have to vet, and there wouldn't be as much, that not normal, because normal's kind of a big word, but we need that flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also where a lot of things happen is that after the man gets the girl, after he's romantic and he's a prince and he buys her flowers and everything, after a while he just takes her for granted and stops doing that.
That's not true. That he's
It
not
does
that
happen.
he's not a high value man.
But it happens. I mean, I'm not saying that it's a good man because
There's also reasons why that might happen as well too. It takes two to tango, right? Both people are involved. So again, I told you, men are really simple. So if a woman gives him what he needs, he will continue doing all the things so he gets what he needs.
Fuck him, feed him, leave him alone.
That's it. That's it.
So you're saying that if a man doesn't, like if a man's getting what he needs from a woman, but he doesn't perform, like reciprocate back to her accordingly, that would mean he's not a high value man.
Yeah. And at the same, also as well too, was it always like that from the beginning? If it was like that from the beginning, it means he was never into you.
Yeah.
You're putting your energy in the wrong guy. If a guy is into you, and he's a high value guy, forget about the money part. Let's just talk about the part about having morals and values, okay? If he's into you, that means he's loyal to you. He thinks you're the most beautiful woman in the world, right? You're his dream girl. Why is he not going to want to make you feel like you're on a pedestal every single day? He should be wanting to do that, right? The only way he's not going to is if you're not giving him what he needs. He doesn't feel appreciated. So if you meet a good guy and he treats you this way and you know he's genuine about it, but then after some period of time, that starts to fizzle away. Before you look at him, look at yourself and see, what is it that I've changed? Maybe I'm nagging too much all the time. Maybe I'm complaining all the time. Maybe I'm not being as appreciative as I used to be before. Earlier in the relationship, I'm so lucky to have you. You're amazing. Maybe you stop doing all that. A man just wants to feel appreciated. That is it. That is the key word. Man needs to feel the same thing with Cheyenne, what she said. If you were to open a jar of pickles, even though you can, give it to your man. Oh, I can't do it. Let him do it. It's going to make him feel good.
Well, you were saying earlier that it's important for a woman to love her man. So do you think that sometimes men go for the wrong woman? Especially because they're going for the beauty. So let's say you have like 10 girls lined up and then you have like the most gorgeous girl, but she doesn't have the traditional values. She's like a 10 out of 10. But then you have a girl who's like a 7 out of 10, but she has those traditional values.
Men make that mistake.
He's gonna make that mistake
Very often.
10 out of 10.
And then he's gonna get burnt.
Yeah.
And then after time, he'll realize it and say, I need peace of mind. Beauty is only beauty. And this girl also has her own beauty in her own unique way.
Right.
So men do realize that. And that's based on how they're raised. If they're raised in the right household, he's gonna learn that type of stuff through his mother. Because if he values his mom, he's going to know that beauty is just only skin deep, right? So the other stuff will stand out more. But if a guy's kind of like raised on the street in a way, what I mean by that is he doesn't have that traditional family, he's just going to want to have the hottest girl to show her off as an accessory piece to his buddies. That's all she is. There's no real connection between both of them. And that girl's using him as well too. But a guy who was raised in a proper traditional family, he will see beyond that.
Right.
But men do, that's the whole reason why women wear makeup. That's why you women have fake eyelashes and fake nails and fake push-up bras and fake boobs and like heels. And then you wear Spanx and all of this shit is to create this delusion to this guy that I'm gorgeous.
Right.
And that confuses the guy. Because when he takes you home the next day, you look nothing at all like you did the night before.
My lash tech would beg to differ.
So the women themselves kind of sabotage themselves that way. You women are so competitive with each other. Holy shit. A girl will wear a short dress and next one wants to wear even a shorter dress. And like have her ass hanging out. Then the other one wants to have her tits hang. Like they will just keep going further and further and further.
Well, I believe modesty is attractive.
Of course
like
it
you
is.
could still wear like a dress that like enhances
Modesty
your
is
figure,
beautiful.
but
It's not
covers
attractive.
you.
It's beautiful. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying to you is women are the ones who keep moving that bar further and further down the line of immorality against other women. So they all want to outdo each other.
But men do buy into it though.
Because they're attracted to it. How are you going to get a guy not to look at a girl's half naked?
Right.
So now the trend is being braless, right? Girls being braless is the new, it's healthier to be braless. So in LA, it's everywhere, right? And they have their boobs pierced as well too. And they're wearing a tight top. How's a guy not going to stare?
But then
Like if you go into a Starbucks and the girl's wearing like a top with no bra on and her nipples are popping and she's got piercings, how is the guy not going to look?
Yeah.
Of course he's going to look. And he's going to be drawn to her. He's attracted to her. He's going to want to hit on her now.
And then he's going to say something inappropriate, and the woke folk are going to say, "Well, you
possibly
talk to me that way," and it just becomes
See, when men look at things, that thing becomes the object of their desire. That's a very dangerous road to go down. Because when men look at things and they desire it, they want it. Men are possessive. They want nice cars, nice houses. They want all these things because they desire them. So if they see a beautiful woman, they desire her, they want her now. And that's what the woman does. That's the bait that she puts out. Right? And so for that guy, he's just going to be with her for one night. He's okay. He conquered her, no problem. But a girl who's got values, traditional values, and she has morals, my advice to that girl, don't sleep with the guy.
Agreed. 100.
And one more thing, a lot of these girls, the problem is they may have had some one-night stands because they messed up. They got drunk or whatever it was. They met some guy who, swept them off their feet and they regret it. Now, when they're with this guy who's a good guy, that guy's thinking, you gave it up to that loser in one night and you're holding it out on me for 3-4 months. So maybe don't tell them about that loser you slept with.
I would go with don't tell. Don't ask,
tell 'em.
don't tell. And I think that should be a
You
rule.
learn from your mistake.
Yes.
But if you meet a good guy, don't sleep with him in the first couple of days. You think that that's going to secure the deal because you emotionally want to bond with him because your emotions are going. He'll sleep with you.
That's like I think that today's dating culture, I don't know why that's a thing now. Why people
3
hook
dates.
up. I
People think
that's,
within 3 dates they should have sex.
Yeah.
I think that's ridiculous.
That's the norm now.
Yeah.
3 dates.
Yeah, and we also have like the situationships where it's
Yeah.
like informal. We're not a couple,
Yeah.
so we're not exclusive.
Oh,
but
no.
we can like
Hook
hook
up.
up and everything. But we're not exclusive.
Yes. So
Oh,
so imagine now a guy, if he meets a girl, he expects this. So women are the ones who decide who they sleep with. Hope you guys know that.
Oh, yeah.
It's not up to a guy. Most guys will fuck anything. Okay? Any girl who's willing to give it up. A lot of guys will sleep with a fat woman. They won't tell their friends because she's like a moped, right?
But it's attractive when a
It's like a moped. It's like it's fun to ride until your friends find out. What was that?
It's attractive when a man doesn't do that. Like a high value man who has moral standards won't.
A
just
high
go
value
with
man, if you go,
any girl.
a high value man, if he meets a super, like you talk about that lineup of a super hot girl
Yeah.
who's like a 10,
Yeah.
he'll sleep with her. Why wouldn't he? He's going to plant his flag.
He'll shoot his shot.
Yeah, but no, he doesn't want her, but he's still going to say, I'm able to get her. He's a high value man.
I mean, I know it's very rare, but there are men that outside of a committed relationship or marriage won't do that, but those men are rare.
No, I'm dating.
Those men you're talking about men who also have religious values now.
Yes.
They exist.
Yes.
Of course they do.
Because that's
upbringing.
That's a high value trait.
Sure. So if you have someone who's been raised in a proper Christian family or a proper Jewish family or Muslim family, they're raised that you only have sex when you get married. They're raised that way. It doesn't matter how hot the girl is, because they're secure with themselves.
Yeah.
Right? But in relationships, again, if you find someone that's got the 60%, even the guy or the girl, stay with it. Don't think there's something better out there. If you've already invested so many years in the relationship, continue with that. It's going to get better and better.
Yeah.
That's what that video is about. Because if you give up on that relationship, now when you're going to meet the next person, your measuring stick will always be that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And good luck finding that again, because now you're bitter. Who knows what that person's experiences have been as well too. Are you going to be willing to put the same effort in again in this relationship and have the patience and the tolerance? No, right? You're going to be a little bit jaded.
Yeah.
You're going to have a short fuse. And so you're not going to give that relationship a chance to even bloom. And then now you go to the next guy, and now you're more bitter, and the next guy. And next thing you know it, you're in your 30s or late 30s, early 40s, and you're single, you're successful, but you're fucking unhappy as shit. You act like you're happy because you have a Louis Vuitton bag and this and that, and you travel everywhere, but there's an empty void, you know? So anyhow, thank you everyone for coming. If you would like to be a guest on the show, there will be a link in the description. You can click on that, fill an application form, and have a good night.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.